out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are tuned in to Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man, Kel. I got my squad meet in effect. My little sister's laughing. Great way to start off the show. What's going on, P?
I'm all good, Kel. How are you?
Hey, everything is good. The youngest in charge, my little bro, JR. What's going on, fam? I think you're kind of frozen because he's looking at me in that tone of face. You frozen for a second. I thought you was on strike too. I can't win for losing.
No.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be stuck for the majority of the night. Vague, what's going on with you, good brother?
What he say? He's old. I poke bears. Then he got cooked in the next game.
The joker that I said they got the Dylan Brooks, the hairstyle like Dylan Brooks, so that's where we poke bears come from. I don't know why you tell LeBron James you poke bears. Like, it's just certain people you talk shit to, and it's just certain people you don't talk shit to. Like, and it's like, damn nigga, you picked this nigga of all niggas on the planet Earth to fucking say you poke bears, you pick him. Okay, well, this is why your ass was almost in China. Like, I'm sure he is.
I thought for sure
he owes that GM from Houston his whole entire life because his whole family was probably about to kill that nigga. Like, nigga, you fucked up the entire bag. Fucking poking bears and shit. Eddie, what's going on with you, good brother?
Yo, man, I'm good, man. Just happy to be with the fam, man.
All right, no doubt. Raul is in the building. Got an album dropping.
Midnight, caught in the moment.
Yay!
Finally here. So Midnight. Well, when y'all see this, it's gonna already be out on Bandcamp. So, but yeah, Midnight tonight is dropping. So let's get into it.
All right, and we will be talking about the 6 ways that you can support. JR is back into place. Everything good, bro? No, it's not good. But we gonna make it good tonight. We gonna make it good. All right, y'all already know me. Let's jump right into it. This week, out the mortal words of Diamond D on the Fugees The Score, where he says, because by far I'm the best producer on the mic. You know what I mean? I want to say Diamond is the first person who probably proclaimed that. I thought he said that somewhere on Stunts, Blunts, and Hip Hop. I could be wrong. I'm 49. My memory is going, y'all. Does anybody know who was the first person to say I'm the best producer on the mic? Is it Diamond?
Probably.
I wouldn't know that.
Probably.
All right, so we just gonna go for Diamond for the hell of it. I know someone will correct me on the timeline if I'm wrong. So there's that. We're gonna be talking about our top 5 producers on the mic, hip hop, and on the R&B side of things. Your top 5 singers who produce, and we're gonna be talking about an example of a song or maybe an album of why you feel like they will be the best producer on the mic. If I didn't say this, y'all, I apologize. I'll give y'all a chance to do it now. We kind of need these in order from 5 to 1. You know what I mean? So if you have them, don't worry about it. I'll come to you last or whatever. Rel, I can see from the look on your face, you're promoting the album, so I'll bring you down last and everything like that. But that's what we're chopping it up about this week. Top 5 producers on the mic. Porsche, you want to set us off? It's been a minute since we've missed you.
Yeah, so you want me to start with my number 5?
Start with your number 5. Who's your number 5? Oh, you know what? Let's do this. Also, a lot of producers have ghostwriters. So let's talk about that first. Does that bother you? Does it matter? You know, is it just, I don't mind them having ghostwriters because they're really not MCs. They're producers who just happen to rap. So, Porsche, how do you feel about the whole ghostwriter for a producer thing?
Yeah, I absolutely, it does not matter to me. I don't hold it against them. That's not really their bag. Sometimes they jump on the mic just to have a presence in the track or, just for whatever other reason. So for me, it does not matter at all. It doesn't affect their position. I don't really rank producers in my MCs list. I have them separated anyway because I feel like they focus on a different aspect of music, so that's their lane. So anyways, it does not matter to me. So yeah.
All right, and something else we're going to talk about too, I just thought about this, how you view these people, because what you just said, like for example, when I think of Large Professor, I actually think of MC first because of Main Source. Like, just because the first time I heard of Large Professor, he was in a group, I had no idea he made the beats too. I probably thought the DJs made the beats, because back in those days, the DJ 9 times out of 10 was supposed to make the beats, and even now we're finding out half the DJs didn't even make the beats. But how you view these as an MC or producer first. Eddie, what about you? Does it matter ghostwriting or not?
It doesn't matter to me as far as like respecting them. However, when it comes to this list, it does, because I'm always going to rank someone who, I know writes at least 90% of their own stuff, over someone who, has a ghostwriter like a Dr. Dre or someone like that.
Okay. Meg, what about you?
It doesn't bother me only because it feels like it's kind of been the norm, even before I knew how widespread it was. So now it's kind of like Portia said, it's almost like a separate category when you're thinking about their bars, because some of them can write, some of them have sometimes all of them have ghostwriters. So it doesn't bother me as much, mainly because they're producers typically first. So
Right. All right, and Raul, what about you?
Nah, it don't bother me because like I don't put them in the same category as like, like MCs for real. Like they in their own little lane, because that's not their number one thing. So I don't put them in that category. I'm able to separate it.
Right. And I'm somewhere in the middle. The 4 of mine, I think, write their own rhymes. One of them is kind of iffy on both sides of the fence, so we'll get into that when we get to them. But so for me, the 5 or the 4 I got, I don't think have any ghostwriter allegations against them. Porsche, why don't you set us off? Who's number 5 for you?
Okay, I didn't do a separate list for R&B. Mine is just, I have one R&B, and that's my number 5, and it's Babyface. And the song that kind of does it for me is 7 Seas. I love that song. I don't know if you guys have even heard it. It's just oozes love. It's just the epitome of love.
I was gonna say, I'm sure it's something about love.
She
like
loves love.
So adorable, like especially the chorus. It is heart melty. If you guys haven't heard it, just listen to like 30 seconds of it, because I think you guys would just be overloaded. But that's the one. Babyface's vocals are just so smooth and so dope that he is actually, I feel like his production and his vocals are kind of like the same amazingness, if that makes sense. Like he doesn't really lack on either side, and yeah, that's a song that I would like put for him.
And what's the song again?
It's called 7 Seas.
7
Oh my god,
Seas.
it's so cute. It's like playing in my head right now, and I'm just like dying. It's so adorable.
All right, and who was your hip hop producer?
Oh, no, because I only have 5, so
I got 5 altogether. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
5 altogether. So
number 5 for me, I'm going Diamond D. This joint right here, Stunts, Blunts, and Hip Hop. Again, from what I know, Diamond writes his own rhymes. This 5 mic classic to me, man. I love everything on here. The beats was dope. I mean, Sally's got a 1-track mind, Best Kept Secret, Step to Me, Shut the Fuck Up, Fuck What You Heard. And the joint that I'm going to use as an example is I'm Out of Here. You know what I mean? Always was a dope story to me. You in the movies with a shorty, niggas is, talking shit. He got shoot one. Another time, he going to check his cousin or something like that. he gotta shoot somebody. And then the last story is like, he's working for this drug dealer. He just snatches up the product and dashes out. So I thought I'm Out of Here was a very dope storytelling thing, something that I could definitely relate to, being in the movies with your shorty and mad niggas come in, whatever like that. I always related to that story and thought it was dope because, again, most of these people we're talking about, we don't look at as MCs. So I thought it was dope that Diamond could, do a dope storytelling flip like that. And number 5 for me on the R&B side of things, I'm with Porsche with Babyface. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going with a joint off his debut album called Where Will You Go? That was, super dope to me. So, number 5, we got Diamond D on the hip hop. Number 5, we got Babyface on the R&B side of things. Eddie, what you got up next, bro?
All right. I only got hip hop for my list, so I'm only gonna do that. My number 5 is the RZA. I know for some it might be low for him or whatever, but there's a reason for that. But the RZA, I feel like his highs are really high. So a couple of tracks that I have for him, I got Fourth Chamber off of the Jizza album. I feel like he absolutely killed that verse. And then the same with his Triumph verse. I love this Triumph verse. So I feel like his highs are really high. Obviously, he was in Wu. He has produced for a lot of other folks. He produced for Biggie and all that shit. But he was in Wu. He was in Gravediggers. He had his own solo stuff. Only reason I don't have him higher is because I wasn't that high on his solo stuff. You know what I mean? I remember his first solo, the Bobby Digital in Stereo. I did like it at the time. As I've gotten older, I feel like it hasn't aged well for me, at least for my taste. But he's still dope. He's still dope.
All right, no doubt. JR, who you got for your number 5?
I'm going with Luther.
Okay.
I'm going with Luther. I would say the song would be Wait for Love or The Night I Fell in Love. I think vocally, he just bodies that record. I think Everybody Goes to House Is Not a Home, but for me, Wait for Love is just something different about that record that he just goes in. But Luther has produced for Aretha, Teddy Pendergrass, Whitney, all that good stuff. But I think he's a better producer for himself. But he gave Aretha some bangers. The joint he gave Whitney was ugh. But he gave Teddy a banger too. But that's why I got him at number 5.
Now tell me to school me, because are we looking at, does Luther produce in the the bringing the right people in type view of production? He actually plays and everything. I had no idea.
Yeah, he's a production guy. Like obviously he brings in Marcus Miller and all of them and the background, but he's at the board. Like he ain't no Puff. Let's just put it that way. Okay. All right, no doubt.
Do you have one for hip hop or yours all R&B?
No, mine is all R&B. Like I did this right when I was on my way home. So
all right, no doubt. Vay, what you got?
All right, my number 5 is Large Professor. Like you said, I kind of looked at him as a rapper first, but he has a ton of dope production credits for himself and others. A standout moment for me was his feature on Midnight Marauders. It's really the best verse to me because it's the one that's stuck in my head. You know what I'm saying? It was just dope the way he wrote the beat. So on the R&B side, I have Raphael Sadiq at number 5. I think I like him probably more as a singer than anything, but he's done some things that I like in the past, including some of his own work. But for the most part, I think he's a dope singer and producer. So that's my 5.
All right, Rob, what about you, bro?
I got the Beat Nuts.
It's dope.
Very slept on all aspects, on all levels, and they got a couple albums that I really love. You know what I'm saying? And it's them rapping and producing on it. You know what I mean? And from what I know, they write their own stuff. You know what I mean? And they're not the super duper lyrical but I get quotables from Juju all the time. You know what I'm saying? So,
Bro,
I mean,
bury that ass where God can't even find you. Like, that may be my favorite Juju quotable, man. Like, dog, like for real. Yeah. Now, did you like them better when it was Fash with them two on the first album, or you like them better like from the second album on, where it's just Juju and Psycho Less?
I would say equally. Like, I think I liked him with Fash, but then like when he was gone, it wasn't like I was like, you know, liked him less. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, you know, it was cool when he was there, but they held it down without him, because like Do You Believe, like that's one of my favorite joints. And you know, I just got like, they're a perfect example of, you don't have to be like lyrical miracle to like do your thing and have quotables. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I got several quotables from Juju that that stuck in my head. You know what I'm saying? So, and they all kind of out of control though. They all kind of like, the one that sticks in my head is East or West. Even if you wearing a vest, they gonna find you with a crowbar dug in your chest. Like, that's how he started the song off. It was just crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Beat Nuts, man.
Yeah, it's funny. I never thought about it like that until I just asked you. But it's like Fash left the group and them niggas ain't even miss a step. You know what I mean? And Fash was dope. Like, a lot of my favorite quotes off the first album is Fash. You know what I mean? But I think Psycho, they both got a dope voice. Like, Les and Juju got a dope voice. And not to mention, man, Find That. Like, when Find That came out, this shorty I was dealing with owed me money. And I put that shit on my answering machine. So, like, when you called me, it was like, if you owe me money, you better find that shit, because niggas is dying quick behind that shit. You know what I mean? So I got quotables for days from the Beat Nuts. So, now that's definitely a dope joint. Porsche, you have a number 4.
I got Q-Tip. And I mean, Q-Tip's got a ton of verses. I picked from my favorite posse cut, which is Don't Curse. I always talk about it whenever I can. I like his verse on there. I think it's fun. And I love Q-Tip's voice, honestly. He's got one of the most unique voices in hip hop, the most recognizable voices. And I think that kind of helps him on the mic a little bit too, because he stands out, whether you want him to or not. So yeah, Q-Tip, Don't Curse.
All right, no doubt. Number 4 for me, I'm going with Havoc from Mobb Deep. I felt like when Havoc first started, I never felt like Havoc was whack. I just felt like Prodigy was really, really dope, and Havoc was cool. Like, he was dope. But I felt like throughout time, like, Havoc really, really stepped up his pen game. You know what I mean? I can't say he was ever better than P, but I definitely can say, like, Havoc continued to get better. And the joint that I'll use as an example is this joint right here, The Silent Partner, the joint that him and Alchemist did. Because, like, if you ever wanted to hear Havoc go solo, this is it. It's a dope album. I don't, you know what I mean? At first, it was kind of like maybe he let Alchemist do the beats just so he could focus on the rhymes, because I really would have loved the solo Havoc over Havoc beats, but neither here nor there. To me, this definitely proved that he could hold down an album dolo. And there's a lot of MCs in a group that to this day have never come out with a dolo album. So definitely this will be my joint for him. And I'm going to go with what Veg said for his number 5. My number 4 is going to be Raphael Sadiq. And to me, Instant Vintage, the whole album is just crazy. But if I had to pick one song, it would be Still Ray. Like, that joint, I just love that joint right there. So yeah, that would be my number 4. Eddie, who you got up next, bro?
Yo, I got Havoc as well, man. I just, same what you said. I think everyone focused on Prodigy, but Havoc was dope. Like, one of my favorite verses from him was Give Up the Goods on the Infamous. Like, I feel like, me personally, I felt like he had my favorite verse on that joint. I just love his whole rhyme scheme, just the way he was describing that. You know what I mean? I also thought on some of the later Mobb Deep albums, when, and I hate to say this, I don't want to speak ill on the dead, but I feel like P started falling off a little bit, like maybe after Murder Music or whatnot.
And Murder Music was after Summer Jam, right? That was after the J takeover.
Murder Music was the album after Hell on Earth. So Hell on Earth.
Yeah, so no, I don't think Summer Jam happened yet. I think we still that's like 98ish, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. So
because it's the infamous is Hell on Earth, then Murder Music. I want to say Murder Music dropped before the 2000s.
Yeah, he was dope. He was dope on Murder Music. I'm saying after that.
After Murder Music, right.
Murder Music is when he just kind of started taking a dip a little bit. You know what I mean? That was the album after that. I think was the joint with Hey Love. You know what I mean? When he started doing,
I think with 112.
Yeah.
I always call it, to me, after Summer Jam, I felt like Jay kind of like Nick Anderson, that nigga. Like, Nick Anderson was never the same after he missed them 4 free throws. It was like a rap for him, you know what I mean? And I felt like P was still sharp as shit, but he just wasn't. I could almost tell like that Jay-Z that, how your car get in an accident and you get it fixed and it just don't ride as smooth. Like, I felt like that was it. The car still gets you where you need to go and it's still your baby, but it's like, it's not the same pre-accident. You know what I mean?
But I say that to say, I felt like in some of those albums, Havoc was pulling more his weight. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it was more of a joint effort. And obviously that album that you pulled up, The Silent Partner, a very dope solo project. So, salute to Havoc.
Yeah, no doubt. JR, who you got for number 4, bro?
Kashif.
Good pull. I'm actually shocked he's kind of this high for you.
Yes, he is, as far as that. And I'm like Vegas, like y'all said, with more of, I love his production when he produced for others, even though he could sing, but I love his production on what he did for everybody else. And again, I kind of champion for Kashif because I feel like he gets completely like looked over. And it's like once we got out that disco era, he was the one that kind of had this sound that was able to be, commercially accepted and also a new sound after disco. So I feel like he don't get that love like that, but the dude can sing. But I do like his production more. But I do like Stone Love. I think what he did on that song is very like the vocal stacking that he did on that joint. I think it's dope. So I think people will pay attention to that. But he has produced for everybody: Evelyn Champagne King, Whitney, Melissa Morgan, Howard Johnson, George Benson, like so many people, and Kenny G when nobody knew who he was. Like
Howard Johnson, isn't that a restaurant?
that.
The only Howard I know is Howard Hewitt. So I'm like, I didn't know there was a Howard Johnson.
That he did so fine.
Right. So Howard Johnson.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, my bad. I just heard Howard Johnson. I was like, the fucking restaurant nigga? That nigga produced. Hey, he could have been on his Pushy T doing Arby's commercials and shit. I don't. You never know. Mary did Burger King. Let's not act like. You right. I ain't gonna disrespect the queen. No disrespect.
No. You can disrespect that. I just don't. But yeah, I would say Kashif. Kashif, he's number 4 for me.
No doubt. Vay, who you got for number 4, bro?
For hip hop, number 4, I got Eric Sermon. Mainly because EPMD, a couple of his solo joints. I think him having the joint music later in his career was kind of a surprise because it was he's always kind of had like basic lyrics, but perfect lyrics in some ways, right? Because they're easy enough for you to follow along, you know what I'm saying, for other people to rap to. I felt like he was always in the pocket, no matter what it was. When you listen to some of that early EPMD, though, man, he was mumbling like crazy. Like
I didn't really understand any of the shit he was saying half the time.
Yeah, he was really, and I don't know if that was on purpose or what. He just got better over time, but production speaks for itself, and he's had a number of hits where he's rapping and producing. So yeah, Eric Sermon at number 4.
Let me ask you a question about E. Sermon. Did everybody? I didn't realize till like later on in life that his lyrics were kind of really simplified. Like, did y'all get that? Like when you heard Strictly Business, was you like, the beat is dope, but this nigga's corny, or he's like, I felt like it was. I don't know when it kind of hit me, like, oh, Eric ain't as dope as what I thought he was. You know what I mean? Like, or did everybody just kind of know from the door Eric is just subpar, but he sounds good?
I thought PMD was better, but I didn't think Eric Sermon was like whack or anything. It was the same thing. It was like, he slurred a lot. So sometimes that's what you looked at. But going back, you realize like, yo, even for then, he's saying some really simple shit. Like,
right. But like I said, it just didn't hit me at that time. Like, you could tell me You Gots to Chill was not, the craziest raps in the world at that time. Even though we had Rakim and Kane and all that, it just still felt good or whatever like that. Bro, what about you with E. Sermon? Did you feel like he was simple, or did that hit you like later on in life?
I think it hit me later on. Like, I don't think I really, at that age, I don't think I really paid attention to that, him being simple. I did think PMD was better though, like rapping wise, but when they split, it didn't work out like that.
It didn't add up. The math wasn't math in the way it was supposed to.
Not math at all. So yeah, I that's where I was with it. You know what I mean?
All right, what about you, P? I saw you kind of shaking your head, agreeing with Veg.
Because I kind of agree with Vegas. I didn't by any means think that Eric Sermon was whack or corny. EPMD's album sounded so good that I didn't ever put together that these are like simple rhymes or like he's a little like, not, he's very simplistic. It just sounded so dope, and still to this day, like those EPMD albums, like I will say they had one of the best runs in hip hop for albums back to back, right? So for me, I even now, like I can't say that I think Eric Sermon's whack or corny or anything when it comes to his rhymes. I enjoy, so.
I mean, the stuff with El Nino, the hitting switches, all those things were like, dope to me, and like you said, Vay, even with music, like it's not like music is some lyrical thesis, no lyrical, masterclass, but it shit just felt good. Eddie, what about you with E. Sermon?
Yeah, I mean, I was always dope. I mean, maybe it wasn't the most lyrical, but I think the way he put his words together with his style, what I'm saying? Like, I think he used the most of what he had, and he made it sound dope. And I mean, that's there's a lot to be said about that, just making it sound dope.
Right.
There's a lot of lyrical MCs. I'll say this, there's a lot of lyrical MCs who don't sound dope.
Right. Good point. It's a good point. JR, what about you with Eric?
I agree with everybody. I just think when he did On and On with SWV, I said, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, this is some simple, yeah. And then it made me go back, and that's when I asked my pops. I was like, Dad, like, is Eric like simple? And he was like, nigga, yeah, like I knew that, but it was dope.
Yo, I would have loved seeing your dad say nigga yeah to you.
Yeah, like he was like, yeah, but like y'all said, he was like, he made it sound dope. So it was like, you really didn't care then, you know what I mean? But it was like, once I focused on that rhyme he did on SWV joint, I was like, no, wait a minute, this ain't what? And my dad was like, you really thought that you was gonna get some lyrical spitting? Like, no, like, but he still sound dope on it, right? And I was like, yeah. So
the crazy thing to me, I think it was the illegal We Gets Busy, where it was just like, hey, I'm Eric Sermon. Like, it was just like, yo, damn, bro, like you just said that like 3 times in a row. Like nigga, you really just, and then Eric he was on his Puma shit for a minute with the always singing with the so amazing, but the shit sounded dope. It sounded dope, you know what I mean? Like, nobody heard So What You Say. Shit, that was probably my favorite part of So What You Say. Was him singing that so amazing part, But Veg, you're 100% right on the mumbling. I don't know when I finally realized he said he drives a Corvette, I drive a Samurai Suzuki. I don't know what I was saying for about 8 years of hip hop, but it was not I drive a Samurai Suzuki. Because Eric Sermon was damn near the equivalent of D'Angelo on Voodoo. You didn't know what the fuck that nigga was saying the majority of the time. So you like, yo, I really needed Apple Music in '88 to understand what he was saying. But Veg, who do you have for your number 4 on the R&B side?
On the R&B side, I had Luther. Also, for all the same reasons that JR mentioned. For a long time, I didn't even know he produced like that. You know, I just really was focused on him as a singer. But then when I looked at, you know, what he produced and who he produced for, he had to make my top 5. Just because, you know, when you can sing like that, why produce? Like, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, testament to his talents. So
it is greatness. Bro, who you got for number 4, bro?
My number 4, I got Havoc. From Mobb Deep. I think just overshadowed by Prodigy for the most part, but like they were a group, and if he was trash, you would notice. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, yo, Havoc's on, let's fast forward. You know what I'm saying? He held his own, and they got classic albums. And if I had to do an example of a verse, one that I really like is on the Foxy album. It's a song called "The Promise." He went, he produced that joint, and he went crazy on that verse. You know what I'm saying? And it shows that, you know, he can spit and writes his own stuff as well. From what I know, so dope producer. And think about like having to produce the whole album, and you're actually rapping on the album with your, you know what I'm saying, with your partner or whatever. So, and he held it down. So Havoc would be my number 4.
Yeah, I mean, Hav got one of my favorite lines I used to say all the time. No matter how much loot I get, I'm staying in the projects forever. Shakespeare on the back of how clever. Yeah, like, that was my rhyme right there. Like, yeah, man, you know, sounding crazy as shit, but it's like, yeah, man, we, no matter how much loot, we staying in the projects, nigga. We ain't never leaving. You know what I mean? Pete, who you got up at number 3?
I have 2 for number 3. Sorry, I have to.
I mean, we know you're a Jodeci nigga, so it's all good.
It's true. So I have Heavy D and Large Professor for my number 3. And I mean, Hev is just, we did a whole show on Heavy D because he's just so incredible as a producer. And I thoroughly enjoy Heavy D album. The one song I love and my go-to is Now That We Found Love. I love that song. It's so fun. It's so energized. It's just positive all around. Very silly, sort of playful lyrics. And I think that's so reflective of Hev's personality. He was just that dude, you know, like always seems smiley, positive. And when we hear Grab talk about him, it's kind of the same thing. So that's what I have for Heavy D. And then for Large Pro, I have his verse from Live at the Barbecue. I think that song we know is pivotal for Nas, and I think that everyone just brought their A game to that track, and of course that album, but that's the one I have for Large Pro. And again, I actually like the LP album. I think Large Pro is very, very dope, both producer and as a rapper. But again, we'll talk about it later, I guess. I don't rank him as an MC, but I do think that he's one of the better producers who rhymes.
Right. Let's talk about Hev for a minute. I just did a show with Tone, and we've done 92 before with Blue Funk. And, you know, one, Porsche, I know it now that we found love, it makes me always think of that last scene in Hitch. I don't know if y'all saw the Will Smith movie Hitch. So when you talk about it being playful and funny, you know, the second I hear that, I'm thinking about them in that movie with that. But why doesn't Hev get the love that Hev deserves? I mean, I think Pete had posted something on IG like, yo, it's 50 years of hip hop and I'm not seeing anything about Heavy D. And it's just so crazy to me because when we look at 92, you know, Don't Sweat the Technique is out. To me, that's Rakim starting to go downhill. Kane is already out of here. G-Rap had to Live and Let Die, the LA album, but people weren't really screaming G-Rap's name. So, but Hev had Blue Funk, you know, so while the lyrical KRS is Sex and Violence, that's starting to go downhill. So the cats who weren't even, I never even heard Heavy D's name being brought up with those 4 MCs I just named, who for the most part are the foundation of lyrical 80s. And Hev is dropping Blue Funk, which could possibly be, I think it's his best album to me personally. You know what I mean? But Hev gets no love. Like, you know, do you think it's because, you know, I don't know, he's fun or whatever? I mean, because, I mean, yo, he had the Overweight Lovers in the house using the same sample that Rakim did for I Ain't No Joke. But, I mean, they both were dope songs. I never was like, oh, man, that shit is whack. Hev's is whack. let's go listen to Rakim. Whenever I usually do a mix, I'm mixing both of them together, and it's not gonna stop anybody from dancing or stop anybody from, being in their bag or whatever. So, P, why do you think Hev doesn't get the love he deserves?
Honestly, I think, and I could be wrong. I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, especially Vegas, out in New York. But I just feel like maybe Hev didn't reflect New York culture at the time. But I'm not, like, I wasn't there, so I don't know if that's what it was. I just feel like maybe his style and his the way he presented himself just didn't fall in line with where hip hop was headed at that same era in his region. That's the only thing I can come up with. Otherwise, when we highlight, like when we did that episode about all of the, like, saluting Hev, people were, oh my God, like that's so true. And people were like, I think it got one of the most views out of all of our episodes. Isn't that right, Kill?
I have no idea.
I think you told us that Hev show, that Salute to Hev show, got one of the most views because people love Hev. It's just why he kind of doesn't stand out. I don't know. That's the only thing I can come up with, because he's very well liked in hip hop.
Now that's a good point. I'm gonna go to Veg with what Porsche said. Do you think now, Porsche, with what you saying? What I heard was maybe Hev wasn't hard enough for him.
Right, exactly. Like he had a different demeanor. He had a different presentation about himself. He had a very different attitude, mannerisms that didn't fit with what I think was happening in New York at the time. That's all.
Now, Veg, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think Hev represented the fabric of New York or of being, hard enough or whatever?
I don't think so. Well, I don't think that's it. I think as far as New York is concerned, I mean, yeah, he's not from a borough, so you could easily get forgotten when you're talking about that. Because, if you're from Queens or Brooklyn or wherever, then people start naming MCs. They're never going to name Hev because he's not from one of the boroughs. I think Hev is a victim of his own talents because in a lot of ways, he never fit into a box or category, right? But he did a lot, you know what I'm saying? And he could be there with the spitters. He could be there with the dancers. He's the precursor to Biggie, to be honest. You know what I'm saying?
He's the template. He's the template.
Yeah. He's the template. And he did a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I think in some ways it's unfortunate that he gets forgotten for everything that he's given the game, from rapping. Like, he's actually a lot like LL. You know what I'm saying? Like, LL did the radio cuts and the stuff for the ladies, but then he'll jump in a cypher for somebody. Hev was the exact same thing. So I think, but LL's from Queens. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just, it's like people, when you bring up Heavy D, nobody has anything bad to say about him.
Absolutely.
People unfortunately forget about him, It's terrible. So.
And it's funny that you said L, because I see the L slander that you see now about L. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like L's name doesn't usually get brought up in those super lyrical miracle conversations of the 80s either. You know what I'm saying? So again, it seemed like it was like Kane, Rakim, KRS, G-Rap. Like, those were the four pillars of 80s lyricism and everything like that. Eddie, what do you think about Hev? Why do you think Hev doesn't get the love?
Yeah, I think for all those reasons you said, I think his most popular songs, or at least his most commercial songs, are also some of his most playful, right? The love songs, the song for the ladies, and then the playful songs that you could dance to. I think obviously he could go so many different directions, right? He could be lyrical, as he showed on Blue Funk. I think Peaceful Journey showed a little bit of everything. It showed him getting more socially conscious on that album as well. I think it's just the style that gets associated with him, although he did it all, Right. But I feel like when his name comes up, it's pigeonholed into a certain thing.
Right. JR, what about you?
I agree with everybody. I also think Hev was a complete artist. to me, and I think it might have been ahead of its time because a lot of people didn't respect it like that. Because, like y'all said, he can be with the dancers, he can be with the R&B artists, he can be with the hip hop artists. Like he just flowed anywhere, and I think
that's all too.
Right. So I think it's like ahead of his time, for real. So it's like he gets lost in that. You know what I mean? And then, like Vegas said, he's not from a borough. You know what I mean? So it's like when you think of New York, everybody is gonna think of the boroughs, and you can't name Heb because he's not from a borough. So it's like he gets lost in that. So it's like a lot of things to get lost in, but Heb is dope. And like when we did our episode with Tracy Lee was like, yo, this dude made it into my top 10 from doing this episode. You know what I mean? So it sucks that Heb gets pigeonholed in so many things, but for real, like he's dope for real. And I think he should get so much more respect than what he should. But when you're one of the first, you might get, you know what I'm saying? So
right. Well, what about you?
Man, I'm glad I was last because I really don't know. Like, but I agree with everybody. What everybody was saying. And the borough thing, I didn't even really think about that. Like, that might be an issue because I just don't understand. Like, and even he was like one of the most well-rounded artists that we ever had. You know what I'm saying? And was a good producer as well. Like, he gets slept on with that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't understand it, to be honest. I remember, like, coming up, like, he was like the man at one point, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it why he's not looked at in a more, why he doesn't get appreciated more. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody has anything bad to say about him. And I was watching one interview and someone was like, yo, like, he can hang with all different types, from the NWAs to LL. They all messed with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was respected. You ain't never hear nothing crazy or nothing corny about him. So I don't know. I guess I agree with what everybody else was saying, because I can't really figure out why, like, he don't get the love that he deserves. You know what I'm saying?
I think I got something. I'm looking at his discography, and I think the thing is Living Large was dope. You know what I mean? That's, you know, the Overweight Lovers in the House, everything like that. I know when Big Time came out, he went more New Jack Swing. Like, I feel like what happened with Heb is that the bulk of Heb's albums his albums were radio-friendly songs, and he had like 2 or 3 boom bap songs in there. So I think what's happening is, you look at 89 as Big Time, New Jack Swing, 89 is G-Rap's Road to the Riches. You know, where there is no radio cuts. You know what I mean? We're looking at The Year After By Any Means Necessary. You know, where everything is, the majority is boom bap. Where Heb, even you hit Peaceful Journey. I mean, like Porsche, you said the number 1 single was Now That We Found Love. You know, there's nothing boom bap about that whatsoever. And now we're in 91. We're looking at Brand Nubians. We're looking at, you know, what are you gonna say, JR?
But ain't that helping hip hop though?
It's helping hip hop, but I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to go back in time to myself, being a kid, a young kid, thinking about it. And I remember listening to Peaceful Journey and liking it, but then I get Don't Curse, but that's really the only boom bap I'm getting off of this album. You know what I mean? And then, like I said, and it's no coincidence that my favorite album is Blue Funk, which is probably his most well-rounded hip hop album. And then after that, you go to Nothing But Love, which again, I fucked with, but there was joints like, what was it called? Got Me Waiting. I love that shit. But Spend a Little Time on Top. Marley did that. Like, that's the thing. Like, so I felt like maybe just looking at all this, the bulk of the music that people were hearing from Heb was the radio tracks. And then every now and then he'd give us a You Can't See What I Can See. You know what I mean? Where if you look at Ready to Die, the majority of that is some boom bap shit. And he'll give you Juicy and fucking, One More Chance, but the other 10 cuts are for, the niggas, where it felt like it was the flip for Heb. Like, Heb is gonna give you 10 cuts for the ladies and give you 2 or 3 cuts for the hip hoppers. So I'm just sitting here thinking like that may be what it is, because I don't know if you talk to the average hip hop head if they really fuck with Peaceful Journey. Like, I could be honest with you, I don't know the last time I listened to Peaceful Journey or Big Time. Just personally, just me. I'll go back to Living Large and I'll go to Blue Funk. But Nothing But Love, Peaceful Journey, and Big Time as a whole, I haven't gone back to listen to. Do I like We Got Our Own Thing? Hell yeah. Do I like the Pete Rock remix to Girls They Love Me? Hell yeah. But all those other songs on there, I can't name, gun to head right now, I can't name you 2 more songs off of Big Time. You know, I can't. Beck, can you name me more than 2 songs off of Big Time? And it can't be Girls They Love Me and We Got Our Own Thing. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I can't. You know, Peaceful Journey. I got Peaceful Journey and Don't Curse, and Now That We Found Love. Like, you know, so again, you asked me some shit off of G-Rap's album. I'm like, oh, Road to the Riches, it's a demo, fucking Rikers Island. You know, I'm spewing this shit off because they were all boom bap. What were you gonna say, Eddie?
I was gonna say, you reminded me of something when you talk about Peaceful Journey and You Can't See What I Can See. I feel like You Can't See What I Can See should have gotten the Dwick treatment, because You Can't See What I Can See was a B-side on, like, it wasn't on Peaceful Journey, but it was essentially a Peaceful Journey B-side. It should have got put on Blue Funk. Yeah. Like,
I think even if it got put on Blue Funk, it would have fit. But I think we loved Heb just because it was like, we know he can get in his bag. You know what I mean? But I just think the bulk of the music that we have from Heb is going to be much more radio friendly, and it's not going to be getting played at no hood party. You know what I mean? Like that, you know? So maybe that, but everybody watching.
And our parents love them, you know?
Yeah, you know, I mean, like I just said, Tip said the bum diddly Heb is a favor of my mama, you know? So maybe that didn't help either. Like, yo, your mom ain't supposed to like your fucking favorite rappers. It's like, you like Heavy D? Fuck Heavy D. Like, I can't like Heavy D. If you like Heavy D, mom, like, I need you to hate who I listen to. So I think Vague said it. It's almost like a gift and a curse of your talents. You know what I mean? Like, what you gonna say, Vague?
No, I just wanted to add one more thing about him. Like, one thing that he doesn't get a lot of credit for is if you listen to his rap flow on Mr. Big Stuff, right? It's the rap flow from that time. You listen to his rap flow on You Can't See What I Can See. It's the rap flow of that time. And then you listen to like his verse on Monifa's Joint. It's different, right? It's in the line with all those dudes like Father MC and Big. So, and it's all Heavy D. You know, he don't get a lot of credit for it. Also, for those, you know, like, oh, you can't name Heb. Man, shut up. I got all the tapes here. Here's Nothing But Love for You. And Blue Funk. All on the set. So I was showing up for Heb no matter what. Right. I like them, you know. So.
And I don't want anybody to take that as that was a knock on Heb. I'm just saying, for me personally, you know, I'm thinking maybe that's why a lot of hip hop heads don't give him that, because the boom bap we got from Heb was few and far, and that's not, you know, a shot. That's just what it is, you know. But it's not like he couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Which is why, like I said, I love Blue Funk the most. Porsche, you just went, so it's my turn. I'm going with number 3. I'm going with Jay Dilla, man. I'm going with Jay Dilla. Slumville, I love that first album. Fantastic Voyage 2. 5 Mic classic to me. The verse that always got me was Calm Thelonious. When I thought he just went off on Thelonious. You know what I'm saying? So that's it for me. And I actually messed up. Sadiq should have been my number 3. My number 4 was actually Sleepy Brown. Before everybody out there watching loses their shit, just do me a favor, answer me this question. Have you heard his debut album, Sleepy's Theme? That was an independent album. So before y'all lose y'all shit, like that nigga who just be singing Big Boy's hooks, Sleepy is doper than just that nigga who be singing Big Boy's hooks. You know what I mean? Trust me, Sleepy's Theme, he was selling it out the trunk back in 97. 5 Mic album to me, very dope, very soulful. I want to say Sleepy's had 3 solo albums. I know one got shelved. But if anybody out there watching, just get at me. I will inbox you the shelved album. Sleepy got some shit. And he's a producer. For people who may not know too, he's part of Organized Noise. You know what I mean? So again, before you just say that nigga who just be singing on Big Boy's hooks, he's also the nigga who is part of Organized Noise that was producing for Outkast and Goody Mob and In Vogue You know, the list goes on and on and on. So, you know, I'm going with Sleepy on that joint. Eddie, who you got up for your number 3, bro?
Yo, I got Dilla too, man. What you know, obviously my favorite verse of his is Thelonious. What I love the most about him is how he could go into different styles. You know what I'm saying? Like it was JD with Slum Village, right? Then this Welcome to Detroit sounded completely different, right? Then he linked up with Madlib, the J-Lib album, and it's completely different. Then he went and did Rough Draft and you know, made that shit sound grimy as hell, you know? So I just love how he can flip, and I think his flows and rhyme patterns, like even though he wasn't that complicated with what he was saying, he always had like a unique flow or rhyme pattern, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
another great point for Dilla. I'm glad you brought up the Madlib stuff with J-Lib, where for people who don't know, it was Madlib rhyming over Dilla beats, Dilla rhyming over Madlib beats. He also was supposed to drop an album called The Diary on MCA, where he was rhyming over other producers' beats. Wajid was on the album, Knots, Madlib, High Tech, Kareem Riggins, Pete Rock, Super Dave West, Bink was on the album, but it got shelved. You know, so again, I think that's one of those albums that maybe if it came out, more people would look at Dilla as an MC or whatever like that. But again, a lot of people don't even know the stuff that Dilla produced. You know what I mean? Number one. Number two, a lot of people may not even really remember him from Slumville, because Slumville has had so many incarnations of itself that, you know, somebody may have came in when Slumville was just, you know, T3 and by 10. Somebody may have came in when oh God, Elzai was in the group. You know, then Elzai left the group. And somebody, I don't even know who's in Slum Village right now. Slum Village is like fucking hip hop Temptations. I don't even know who's in the lineup right now. You know, it's just 2 again. So who's in it now? Is because by 10 passed away, so it's T3 and who?
and RJ.
RJ.
I heard 3 different names. JR said somebody.
I think it's Dilla's. Is it Dilla's little brother or is it Dilla's cousin?
I
Young
think
RJ?
it could be Dilla's little brother. JR, who did you say it was?
I said it was 2 because they came in on our last show. It was 2 of them.
Yeah,
And you don't know who they were?
Yeah,
I know it was RJ and it was what's his name?
T3. Okay, so RJ, I think, is Dilla's little brother. All right, yeah. So, but a lot of people may not even know Dilla was in Slum, depending on when you got into Slum or whatever like that. So, yeah, definitely that. But the Diary joint is out there on the internet somewhere. Google's your friend, find it, check it out. But yeah, Dilla is very dope in my opinion. I'm at the number 3 spot. JR, who you got for your number 3 spot?
I knew everybody was gonna say Babyface, to be honest. So I knew that was gonna be in everybody's top, and it isn't mine. But I want to give Missy some credit too. So I got her at number 3, and like she's produced for everybody and wrote for everybody. So I think vocally, I think me and Kill was going back and forth about this, and not going back and forth. Me and him was actually agreeing when all the times when it was LSG, Coco,
Missy come in?
Missy come in at the end and handle her business. Like, you're not gonna expect for her with all these powerful vocalists minus Keith Sweat, and you like all those, and then Missy comes in and just you like, whoa, like it was just like she handled hers on there. So when people be like, can Missy really sing? I'm like, yes. And that is the song that I send them to all the time. So, but Missy has produced for everybody, and I think everybody knew that. So, but that
second 702 album that she worked on was crazy. Working with Aaliyah, the stuff she did with Tweet, like you said, it goes on and on and on with Missy. So
because everybody think it's just her writing and Timbaland producing, but she produced as well by herself. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to give Missy some love. For real.
That's a dope shout out. Vague, who you got up at number 3?
Number 3, hip hop. I got Q-Tip. I guess the number 1 song, obviously production wise, what he's done for Tribe, Crooklyn Dodgers, stuff he did on the Infamous, Illmatic production. The World Is Yours remix, which is the one I prefer, to be honest. He's just crazy as a producer. MC wise, I think the one for me, my favorite Q-Tip song is Verses from the Abstract.
Nice.
It's just a really dope, mellow song that goes with his voice and his vibe. And I mean, the title kind of speaks for his lyrical ability. He puts his words together like it's abstract, to be honest. So to me, like, Q-Tip definitely in my top 3. I also had Missy down for a lot of the same reasons. And I also, JR, like you, I'm like, when I heard that song, I was like, wait, that's Missy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Listen, it might be my favorite part because of
that song,
how different she is from everybody else, but she still sounds really good. You know what I mean? I also had Babyface because I had them both.
Yeah.
So, and Babyface, man, he got a number of joints I love. I mean, I love his production. I love what he did with Mary. And probably Never Keeping Secrets is my favorite song. That shit don't ever get old to me, like ever. Like I hear it on the radio. Right. They come on the radio, turn it up. It's just fuck it, keep listening.
It's funny. Face may have the best Dirty Mackin' songs. To quote my sister, the Dirty Mackin'. Because soon as I get home, I was like, God damn, I'll pay your rent, like my nigga. You know, yeah, I'm never, because it's just still, I'm still stuck. Like, nigga, how, nigga, that's what you do. You go to the club, like, hey, shorty, I'll pay your rent. You know, I got you rent. What's rent? Like, yo, let's come on, you know. But like you said, baby, it never gets old. It's not like it comes on and I'm not singing it, or, you know, 2 occasions, or just stuff he was doing with the deal, and
right,
you know, all that stuff is just still amazing. So I mean, and what I mean, JR, date face, like, when is the deal? Like, this is what, 87?
The deal, no, that's like 85, 80, like 80, yeah, like 84, 85, because he came out with his album first, and that was like in 86.
Okay.
That's when that one with I Love You Babe and all that joint, and then...
And Shoot 'Em Up Movies was the deal too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Shoot 'Em Up. So I mean, Face has been around since the mid 80s. You know what I mean? So
even early 80s, because he did the Midnight Star. Yes, he did that.
I bet. All right. Yeah. Just showing Face some love up in here. Ralph, who you got up for your number 3?
Number 3, I got the RZA. Production wise, I mean, I don't really got to explain all the Wu stuff, all the classics. MC wise, he got a like what Eddie said, like his highs are really high. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like his verse on Wu Gambino is crazy. He got a song on a Gravediggers joint called 12 Jewels. He went, like, if you ever get a chance, listen to that joint. He went crazy on there, you know what I'm saying? But then, like, you know, like Bobby Digital it had some alright stuff on there, but it was kind of all over the place. But he's proven, like, multiple times that he can give you, like, he can spit, you know what I'm saying? He can give you some fire verses or whatever. So he has really high highs, and then of course all of the production with the Wu and all that, and some of the outside stuff he's done. So I'm gonna go with for Writers on Rhymes, by the way. So I'm gonna go with the RZA.
All right, P, who you got up at number 2?
Number 2, I have DJ Quick. And
Quick, I knew Quick had to be, as he should, on this list.
Yeah, as he should. DJ Quick has one of the best discographies to me, except for a couple. I think his first few albums were pretty dope. I would say first 3, 4. Anyways, what I love is on Dollars and Cents, when he kind of goes at MC8. And I think it's kind of different from what you would have been accustomed to up until that point, because, you know, he has like raunchy lyrics, a little bit, you know, in his and descriptive nature, but then he comes at 8 with this diss track, and it's one of the best diss tracks. Like, if I was gonna rank my top 5, Dollars and Cents is on it. So DJ Quick is just he I feel like is a West Coast secret, sort of. Like, people don't really give him the credit that he deserves, not for the production and definitely not for the rapping, but Quick as the name that's a 5 mic album to me. Rhythmalism is right behind it, like all way too funky, like oh, they're dope. So
I gotta check out that joint Dollars and Cents, because somebody said something to me.
It's how this Safe and Sound.
Yeah, name 10 diss songs that were doper than Second Round Knockout. And I named like 13. And a lot of people were like, yo, Dollars and Cents. Yo, you need to put Dollars and Cents in that list too.
No, that's
so
right.
I gotta check that joint out.
That joint is fire. And
it is.
It's a really good diss song. And I liked MC8 when they were beefing. I was with 8. But that diss song was... Let me be clear,
I love MC8, but that...
I gotta listen to this.
Yeah, I gotta hear this joint.
He has a haymaker
name. EIHT. Now, should I continue? Yeah. You left out the G because the G ain't in you.
Yeah,
it's
just wow.
DJ Quick.
I was like, wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna listen to this
He
tonight.
had a haymaker on there that was crazy. I was like, wow. Okay. Yeah. That's a good diss song. That's up there. Real slept on.
And who's your R&B? Oh, I'm sorry. You just had straight forward. Number 2 for me, I got Q-Tip at number 2. Always thought Tip was a dope MC. And, like I said, as soon as I heard the stuff he was doing, producing Dolo, and what Ali was producing Dolo, I was like, oh, Tip did all them tribe beats. Okay, cool. So, there's so many moments I got to think of Tip. I'm like Greg. I got verses from the Abstract, Suck a Nigga, and actually his verse on Drink Away the Pain. Like, I dug the whole fashion. Tommy Hill was my nigga. Another couldn't figure. Like, I loved that, especially over that beat. Again, people talk about beats, rhymes, and life, and I always say, just imagine if beats, rhymes, and life had those beats. Like Drink Away the Pain, Temperatures Rising, Crooklyn Dodgers, like all those beats he was giving away. Imagine if that was on Beats, Rhymes, and Life. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Tip is definitely my number 2. And on the R&B side, I got D'Angelo on the number 2 side of things. Brown Sugar, I know with Voodoo it's a lot. Quest has said he was in there. There's a lot of hands in the kitchen. But I do know with Brown Sugar, for the most part, I think outside of Ali doing a drum programming on Brown Sugar, the song, like the whole entire album was kind of done by D. And my joint on there is just Cruising. If I had to give an example, because it's hard to redo a Smokey Robinson classic. And I know a lot of people. JR, I want to say you said that you...
It ain't hard. It ain't hard to do. No, it ain't. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, I guess fuck Smokey today. On
you know how I feel about Smokey, so yeah.
Right, but I would use.
But he did kill. But Smokey's Cruising is tight. But for D'Angelo, the way he did it, he like you don't even think about Smokey no more. Like
right,
real, that's
I feel you. And then on top of that, in the video, he's got the dope USA low joint on. So definitely shouts for that. Eddie, who you got for your number 2?
My number 2 is Black Milk, the dopest producer from Detroit, not named Jay Dilla. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not mad at it.
Black Milk. So Black Milk, he's produced for like Elzai. He's produced for Royce. He produced like Fat Cat and all the Detroit artists. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
He had that group with Sean P and Guilty
Random
too.
Acts. Yeah, he was in Random Acts for sure. So you know what I'm saying? As far as like his solo stuff, I really like. I think he's improved as an MC. Some of my favorite joints from him. This joint called Sunday's Best, Monday's Worst. It's kind of like a 2-part song. And
that shit was dope.
Because he's like telling a story, you know what I'm saying? And it's like the two sides. It shows like the duality of man, the duality of life, you know what I'm saying? I love
He just dropped a new album, right?
did. Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's
I
dope.
probably got 3 songs into that, and it was dope. Like I forgot why I
dope.
didn't stay tapped in, but
It's
the 3
dope.
I heard was real dope.
The joint, I'm gonna name The Matrix just because he held his own on a joint with Pharoah Monch and Sean Price. You know what I'm saying? Like, did he have the dopest verse? No, but you'd be hard pressed to have the dopest verse with those 2 MCs. But he held his own. Like, his verse wasn't, whack at all. You know what I'm saying? And I think, like I said, I feel like he improved because I feel like he's learning how to rhyme better in the pocket with different types of beats. You know what I'm saying? When he's doing a more introspective track, like a lot of his newer music is more introspective. So yeah, man, I think he's really dope.
All right, no doubt. JR, who you got for your number 2?
Raphael Sadiq. This guy's just everything to me. I ask of you, obviously, but the way I see it is just one of my favorite albums ever, and I wish I was in the studio when he made it. But Raphael done produced for everybody. D'Angelo, you know what I mean? Everything he did for Tony, and Total, and Whitney, Mary, Jasmine Sullivan, Solange, like just everybody. And he gives them their own sound. It's not like you think, okay, if you listen to something from Mary, it's gonna sound like something from Tony. Like, it's just not that. Now, like, he gets into their vibe and be like, all right, I know what I'm gonna give you. And what he did for D'Angelo. You know what I mean? So he's just dope. Raphael is just dope. You know what I mean? So definitely number 2 for me.
Yeah, Sadiq. I mean, you can't say. I mean, one of the greatest who ever did it. You know what I mean? So, Veg, who you got for your number 2?
All right, number 2 on the hip hop side, I got Dr. Dre. And I mean, for all the reasons we know, from NWA to Death Row times to the Aftermath times with 50 and Eminem, even working with Firm, there was a couple of joints like Phone Tat, you know what I'm saying? Joints like that was crazy. Dre, I don't think I've ever heard like a Dre verse where I was like, get him out of here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he kind of has the same vibe as Eric Sermon, where it's good because it's Dre and it meets your expectations, and it doesn't, if it exceeds it, then cool. But you never really, to me at least, I never really look at it like, oh, Dre is getting whacked. Like, I've never really had to say that. For me, the standout was.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
How do you rate his verse on California Love?
I think I like Pac's better, even though he's talking about New York. But it's Pac. You know what I'm saying? It's one dude's a full-time rapper, one dude's a producer who typically doesn't write his own rhymes. So it was cool. There are times where Dre could be a little extra, but
okay.
It never
So
bothered me.
I just wanted to be very clear, because sometimes we forget that song is a little bit weird. Like, in general, I think it's not Pac's best display, and it's certainly not Dre's best display. So I just wanted to know what about that song in particular. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just that beat though. That beat just makes you forget about all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's so true. Yeah.
But for me, the standout for him is probably Nothing But a G Thing.
Nice.
Because when I heard that, I looked at him as a solo artist for the first time. Like when he was in NWA, he was part of the group. I knew he made the beat, so he was cool. But this was like his coming out party. And I really liked his verses just as much as I liked Snoop's, which I thought was, admirable for somebody like him. He just knows how to deliver. So it doesn't matter if DOC's writing or somebody else. He delivers it like it's his own. And then the production, like that's one record. That record is timeless. Every time I hear it, man, it's like a bat signal. Like, yo, turn that up. So yeah, Dr. Dre. Number 2 for R&B, I have D'Angelo. I am a big D'Angelo fan from day one. Not only because of his singing, but also, you know, the music, man. The music is always great. Everything he's done, even when he did Black Men United. Y'all remember that?
Yo, you will know, dude, my dog. That's
No,
me and Nate have a mixtape. She made a playlist for me of all the songs that make me smile. So like, if I'm like stressed at work, she'll just text me the playlist, and that is one of those songs that are on there. Is the "You Will Know." I love that song.
And
Like,
we didn't even know D'Angelo then.
Yeah, we didn't even know. But I mean, that is one of my. If I'm having a shitty day and you play "You Will Know" or like "Optimistic" or "Keep On Moving" by Soda, so like there are songs that just no matter what happens, if you play that, I am in a great. Keep on, not keep on moving. What is it? Brand New Heavies.
Never stop.
Never stop. Oh my God!
Yeah.
It could be the shittiest day in the world, but you say "Never Stop." You are getting a smile out of me. So they would always be like, "Daddy, you be so stressed." And then what's your song? So like, anytime I'm stressed, she'll just text me the playlist, and "You Will Know" is definitely one of those songs. I love that song.
But yeah,
that's a good call.
all the same reasons, and also like I got to see him perform for my first time with the Vanguard back in they got the vinyl back then. Back when the album came out, and when I tell you it was a show,
Yeah,
it was. We had to leave, Kill, because not only did he perform that whole album, he did renditions. But you record that, like
right,
you know
right.
shit you never heard before. Like, oh, he gonna do. You know, typically you get upset when it's Brown Sugar, but they doing a show version. And you're like, all right, man, you're the one I came here for. Not with D'Angelo. Like, I was looking like, I hope they're recording some of this because they were just jamming. Everybody in the band, everything. So.
Anybody who's a D'Angelo fan, you need to cop this live from the Jazz Cafe.
Yes,
He redoes Heaven Must Be Like This, Can't Hide Love, another version. I don't know why it's not on here, but another version of this. You got him Sweet Sticky Thing from Ohio Players he did. Yeah. So D, remind me when we get off here. I got something about D to tell y'all. So just remind me when we get off here. And the thing about Dre, the thing I always tell people about Dre when they be like, "Oh, well, other people write his rhymes," I'm like, Dre is like that actor who just the director loves working with. Like, you just get the best take out of that actor. Like, it's like, I could only imagine, you know, a director working with Leonardo DiCaprio or a director working with a young Denzel, and you just get what you want out of that. You write this scene, you have this dialogue, and the actor just gets in there and just kills it. Like, it goes above and beyond what you thought he could do. Dre always sounds good. You know what I mean? It's never like, oh, like, here's the thing, y'all. Van, you can write my rhymes all day. I'm not going to sound good as an MC. I just don't have that talent. It's just not my thing. You know what I mean? Whereas Dre just sounds good. Like, the Express Yourself remix, even with NWA, just sounds great. Deep Cover, he sounds great. Like, every time that you hear Dre, for the most part, he just sounds great. You know what I mean? Like you said, it don't matter if it's DOC, Snoop, Jay-Z, whoever. T.I. had read a joint for him called Topless. Vera, I don't know if you ever heard. Did you ever hear Topless, Rel? YouTube that. Nas is on. It was supposed to be on Detox. Crazy. Nas' verse is crazy. But yeah, like, even with that. So again, like, he's just like that actor that just does an amazing performance. Like, when Diddy is rhyming, it's like, you don't really sound good, my nigga. You know what I mean? Like, you know, on that one album Forever, like, Monch was writing for him, and you could tell he was doing Pharoah Monch, and it was just like, no, it's just not believable. Just Did He Stop? I know the Missing You shit blew up and sold 8 billion records, and now you really want to be a rapper, but, like, whereas with Dre, he sounds like a rapper. Like, you know what I mean? You're not mad at it. So I think those.
I think the difference is Dre's a perfectionist.
Right.
So even you've heard the stories about MCs he's worked with and how many takes they've had to do. And I think when the NWA movie was coming out and they were showing like some behind the scenes, you got to see some of that.
Yeah.
Dre is the dude who goes over every syllable, every enunciation, so that it's perfect to him. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And that's why he sounds like that, because he wants to say things a certain way. And it's almost like, you know, the whole verse has to be like this. And then he breaks it down by analyzing it all the way down to the last syllable or breath or whatever.
Right.
So he's like, that's it. Which is admirable for somebody who, you know, if I'm like, here you go, Dre, here you go your verse. You don't have to do all that shit. Like Puff is just like, how you rhyme? Okay.
Right.
He
Right.
just says that shit. You know what I'm saying? So there's a
And I
difference.
think they showed a little bit in that joint with him and Jimmy Iovine on HBO, the Deviant
Yeah.
ones or something.
Yeah.
I think like he was recording Diary for, you know, the Compton album. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. Ralph, who you got for number 2, bro?
I got Q-Tip. You know, production wise, you know, all the stuff he did with Tribe, stuff with Nas, all that. And as an MC, again, you know, rapping on these albums. And I remember, like, you know, when I first heard Tribe, he did almost all of the rapping at one point. You know what I'm saying? If I had to pick a song, man, Get a Hold is like, he went stupid on that. That's like, you know, that's off the Beats Rhymes of Life. That song is crazy, and he went crazy on Lyrics to Go. And he just knows how to fit the beat. Those songs like Alexa Relaxation is like like a perfect song to me. You know what I'm saying? Like the verses, the beat, the flow, the way, you know what I'm saying? That's like a perfect song to me. So I'm gonna go with Q-Tip at number 2.
All right, no doubt. P, who you got up at number 1?
Havoc. Havoc is my number 1 producer who rhymes. It's been that way for years now, and it's just because of the Mobb Deep albums, and then of course Hey Love. Like, I absolutely love that song. My brother always makes fun of me. He's like, yo, like, Mobb Deep has so many better tracks. Like, why are you stuck on that fucking song? And I'm like, because it's so cute. But I just love the way they rhyme with 112. Yeah, I mean, you can take any song from Mobb Deep and Hav's verse is going to be dope on it. I think, again, you guys mentioned Havoc. I think everybody had Havoc on their list. And it was pointed out that Prodigy sort of shined more, but I actually think that Havoc was very complimentary to Prodigy, and I think that their rhyming was very fluid and sounded so dope, especially, and I have to say this, in the last verse of Hey Love. Like, they kind of pinball that verse together, and it's so seamless, and I absolutely love it. I think Havoc is underappreciated as an MC, as a producer who can rap, and his rapping skills. So Havoc is my number 1.
All right. I'm gonna wait on my number 1 because it's gonna be a conversation. Eddie, unless someone else names this person for their number 1, then we can tap in. But Eddie, who you have for your number 1?
I got Q-Tip, man.
Okay.
So I know I need to address this because people watch our podcast. I like to say they smart. So yes, I had Q-Tip on another show where it was MCs that you like that are not 5 mic MCs.
Oh yeah.
Right? I did. I mentioned Q-Tip, right? So y'all may be like, you know, I'm a hypocrite. No, I'm not. Because I don't think any of the MCs I mentioned are 5 mic MCs. So they're on my best producers on the mic list, but they're not 5 mic MCs. They're still dope. You know what I'm saying? So I just think Q-Tip is on the top of my list because, you know what I'm saying? The shit that he's done with Tribe Called Quest, like some of my favorite verses, is Excursions. You know what I mean? He had a lot of tracks, even when Fife started, you know, rapping more. Q-Tip had a lot of tracks that he was holding down Dolo, you know what I'm saying? From Low End Theory through to Beats, Rhymes, and Life, you know what I'm saying? He was carrying a lot of the weight. And a lot of these solo tracks like Midnight, like he killed Midnight. I mean, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the concepts that he could do, he didn't do it all the time, man, but when he could do it. And then my favorite solo album of his, The Renaissance, I feel like that's a 5 mic classic. I feel like he was giving us grown man rap. He was touching on a lot of different subjects. So I think to me that kind of puts him, at the top of my list for sure.
I need to tap into the Renaissance. That dumbass album cover just didn't do it to me. Like him with the MPC as his head. Y'all know this isn't, and again, Porsche, this ain't against Quick with a perm. If it's a whack album cover, I almost didn't listen to Stove God. I mean, it's just something about a whack album cover. And it was this silver nigga looking like a goddamn mom down in New Orleans with an MPC as his head. And I know it was in front of his head for people watching. I know it wasn't on his head. I get it. But I just need to tap back in. Bro, what were you going to say?
If the covers prevent you from listening, how did you listen to Myron?
To who? Oh my fucking God! This nigga. Always come back, but it's cool. It's cool. Here's the answer. That's hip hop. That's hip hop to me. Like it was. If I saw an R&B nigga with a perm, if DJ Quick was an R&B group with a perm, I would have listened because at that time and point, you could have a perm in R&B. You can't do it in hip hop. So yes, that is why I listened to Myron. If fucking the infamous was P and Havoc draped over a bed, fucking with their head down, and I probably wouldn't listen to the infamous either, So the genre of music does play part in how I view it. I admitted to it last week. I'm fucked up in my head. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get out of my head. A whack album cover does not mean a whack album. That is why I listen to Myron.
Hey,
One day before.
Good question. Did you ever hear the leaked album? So he had the Renaissance, but years before he had the live at the Renaissance.
Yeah, I did hear that. I did.
And some of them, like there's a few of them joints that are actually on the Renaissance, but reworked versions. Okay. Like some of them have some of the same bars, and then some of them, kind of restructured. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of the same shit with a lot more stuff that he worked on. So it's a really dope album.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard anything bad about it. You know what I mean? So I've only heard great things about it. I just need to tap in. Remind me to tell y'all when we get off camera a story about Q-Tip. So we got Q-Tip and D'Angelo. JR, what you got up for your number one? Who's your number one?
Curtis Mayfield. Obviously. He will be number one for me.
Man, I forgot Curtis, man. I done fucked up my list now, man.
Yes, Curtis Mayfield's number one for me. Vocally, is he the best? If you had to pick one, it would be Choice of Colors, which was arranged by Donny Hathaway. So he produced for everybody. I mean, he produced for Gladys, Aretha, Linda Crawford. Like, he got with everybody. He's kind of like a Raphael Sadiq, to be honest. Raphael kind of took over after, Curtis Mayfield. And Curtis Mayfield, when he was alive, he saw what Raphael was doing. He was like, kind of reminds me of myself. You know what I mean? So, man, just everything about Curtis is just great. And yeah, that's why he's number one for me. Number one as my favorite solo producer of all time for me.
We're going to talk about, I want you to talk about something. But I mean, when we talk about Curtis Mayfield, you're talking about, to me, one of the greatest soundtracks ever was Superfly. JR did an amazing piece on Sparkle with Aretha. That's produced
I forgot about that.
That's produced by Curtis versus Claudine.
Yes.
Which is produced by Curtis, which is Gladys Knight. I think one of the first times, either when we first met or maybe after we started kicking it. And I mean, to me, that was just amazing to me. I mean, you're putting Aretha Franklin versus Gladys Knight and the verses before verses. And what did Curtis do better? So shout that out, JR.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did a video where my mom actually made me do the video. She was like, won't you compare those two and try to see which one was better and what he did with both of them and what made them so great and all that. So I did a video about it. It was great. And yeah, I forgot. Kill loves that video. He brings it up all the time. I forgot all about it till you said something. But yeah, that video on my website, check that joint out. It's dope.
All right, Vay, who you got up at number one, bro?
Number one on the producer side, I got Kanye West.
right, pause right there. Pause, because that's mine. So I want to go into some stuff about that, and that's yours too, bro. Right? All right. So here's the thing. I'm with Eddie. I feel like I need to make
a
fucking
R&B one though.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, babe. Who's your number one R&B?
Curtis Mayfield.
All right.
I just bought the vinyl for.
That's what I wanted him to say because he just bought the vinyl.
Yeah, I love Curtis Mayfield. I frequently listen to the best of, and I love all the work he's done, like on Sparkle and everything really. So yeah.
And I don't know if cats have heard this. This is a very dope Curtis album, Curtis Live. Yes. Very dope album. It's crazy. I heard this is the first time I heard the makings of you, and I can't listen to the the radio version of it or the album version of it because the live version, it's almost like hearing Kanye's The Food on Chappelle's show and then try to go back and listen to, because here's the thing, a lot of people don't know this, the original B album was going to have the studio version of Food, but so many people on OK Player was like, yo, that shit is trash compared to the live version for the Chappelle show. So they ended up going back, putting the live version on it, because so that's how I feel about the makings of you. When I hear it on Claudine or I hear the regular version, it just doesn't compare to this Curtis Live joint right here. So the reason why I wanted to talk about Kanye, well, you know what, Vay, go ahead. Why do you got Kanye first? And we'll talk about it afterwards.
Mostly because he's been, for the production he has done, that I know.
That's one of the things we're gonna talk about.
Right. For the most part, he's earned his spot as a producer. But what stood out to me more than his production was him as the MC. And, obviously he's written some of his rhymes. He's had ghostwriters as well. But for the most part, like for example, his performance on Watch the Throne next to Jay-Z, I preferred his verses almost on every track for track over Jay-Z's. Like, yo, tuck your whole summer. Like, yo, he was going in on that joint. And it wasn't just the bars, it was also the delivery. You know what I'm saying? It was just the swag. And one thing I like about him is probably what's the issue with him today is he's always honest. So a song like Big Brother, another rapper would have never made that record. Like,
right.
Because you're showing that you're vulnerable, right? Everybody's a fucking tough guy in hip hop, but ain't tough guys for real.
I think the only other song that I could say that kind of compares a little bit is J. Cole with Let Nas Down.
Yeah, but the only thing about that is Kanye was a bigger star when he made that. So he didn't have to make no shit like that. J. Cole was kind of trying to get his foot in. I think he eventually got it with that. But I had more questions about J. Cole and Nas's relationship than I had knowing Kanye's and Jay-Z's relationship and knowing Kanye's story. So he's always been really good at just being personal and, saying what he feels. And, you see it to this day, even though he dressed like a fucking anime character with no shoes. But, it doesn't take away from what I liked about his music during most of his career. So.
Right. And the honesty part, that's really the reason why I really liked Kanye. You know what I mean? Like, I remember being in Ben's Chili Bowl on One U Street. Boy came in with bootlegs. Like, yo, college dropout. I'm like, oh, yo, give me that shit. Like, couldn't wait. As soon as got in the whip, threw that in. And I mean, this is the bootleg has the All Falls Down, where it's like a Def Poetry Jam thing. And Mos is on the mic, like, introing him, and there's no music and everything like that. And he's just spitting it like on some poetry shit. I mean, All Falls Down, like, I mean, just to me, like, that was almost damn near speaking to me. Like, I can't go to the grocery store without some low on. Like, I can't just throw on anything. So, like, everything Ye was talking about, like, I felt like it was for me. And to me, Ye was like a breath of fresh air, because it took me back to the days where you didn't have to be super lyrical. It took me back to the Kid and Play, Kwame, Dana Dane, Herbie Lovebug days of everything doesn't have to be, super lyrical, or how he said, when they thought pink polos would hurt the rock. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where, like, you looked up at one time and point, and it was like, damn, like, Porsche cover your ears, when you're looking at Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick, these people being some of the biggest MCs, and none of these niggas are killers. None of these niggas are drug dealers. Like, they're just regular people, and I feel like Ye kind of made that be okay to just be a regular person again. And I mean, we'll get into the beats. The reason why I felt like this was a little crazy because I'm like, I never know what Ye does and what Ye didn't do. Like when I heard that like Rhymefest wrote Jesus Walks, and I'm like, God damn, nigga, you was just trying to get on. Like I can sometimes understand you getting a ghostwriter later on in your career, but it's like, nigga, how are you trying to get on with a ghostwriter? Like, nigga, you giving out a demo that ain't even written by you. So it was weird, but I mean, I at least knew with Ye, he writes some of his rhymes, I guess. I don't know if Dre writes some of his rhymes or whatever like that. And then even the controversy with Cam's Down and Out. But we'll go into that after Rel talks about why is Ye your number one.
Some of the same reasons. I mean, when he was in his prime, he was a phenomenon, bro. Like, bro, when you first heard College Dropout, that was like, I don't know, man. Everybody was on that shit. That shit was classic, bro. And on Watch for the Throne, I agree with Vague, man. Like, he had a better performance than Jay-Z to me. You know what I'm saying? That's not easy to do. You know what I mean? So whether he wrote all of it, some of it, whatever, is there. And then like the beat wise, I don't know what he didn't do or did do. I mean, but for the ones that he did do, they was crazy. Like when he came out, it was like a breath of fresh air. It was something different. It was something where, again, you didn't have to be super gangster. It was like feel good, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like on what's the song New Day on Watch for the Throne, like his verse on that was crazy. And he is not afraid, like he's a vulnerable artist, and it's like now you see it like in a bad, like it's out of control, but he's a vulnerable artist to where he, you know what I'm saying, is not, again, he's like Vay said, he's just honest, you know what I'm saying? So he's not talking tough and saying stuff that he ain't doing, like himself, you know what I'm saying? I could appreciate that for the most part, you know what I mean? And I just think the highs for Kanye outweighs the lows, you know what I'm saying? So that's why he was number one for me. Like,
I agree. I think
none of my fault. Like none of them, I don't see like his albums, like none of them, as far as a solo album from the other producers that I had on my list, they didn't get to there like that. Those albums were on other levels, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I think his highs outweigh his lows to a certain point for me though. Like once he started talking that slavery shit, like once at a certain point, like that's when he just lost me. So
that's as a person. See, like I'm talking. I gotta
separate. You're separating the two.
Yeah, I'm trying to separate his personal views and some of the stupid shit he say from like the product. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I know what you're saying.
It's difficult though. Like it's easy to say that. You know what I'm saying? But you can't help but combine. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't. I'm trying to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And see, to me, some of his views reflect in the music. Like the music isn't as good, so his highs outweigh his lows to a certain point for me. I think the thing too is, and I wanted to talk about this before I get into the production. Porsche, you made a good point about asking Veg about Heavy and was he the image of New York? And Veg, you made a point about not being from a borough. Do you think somebody once told me when you're not from New York, you're allowed to be more open? You know, it's why 3000 could get away with being a weirdo and wearing fucking football pads and shit like that, and CeeLo can sing and all this shit. And you know, when Tip tries to do fucking Breathe and Stop with a fucking winter coat on, niggas wasn't having it. You know what I mean? Do you think that because Ye isn't from New York, he's allowed to be more vulnerable? Because I just think like Porsche made a great point. You know, Porsche didn't say, you know, was Heavy not hood enough for hip hop? It was like, was he not hood enough for New York? You know what I mean? So do you think a New York MC has that hip hop is giving the New York MC the open door policy to be vulnerable, to talk about mental health, to talk about everything that Ye talks about?
You asking me?
Yeah, like you know, being a representative, well, I fucking forget. Eddie, you're from Brooklyn. JR, you're from Brooklyn. Like, do you think that New York, when I think Nick or somebody from down south said that to me, and I was like, damn, I never thought about it like that before. You know, I
don't think that's true.
Okay.
I think generally, yeah, the optics is, this is how New York rappers are. This is how they sound. But they're most deaf. I mean, what the fuck?
I was gonna say most deaf is kind of like the asterisk. Like, you know, like if MOP come out with an album today with Lil Fame talking about like my mental issues and, you know, I got problems, y'all. You know, like, you know, could Jim Jones be like, yo, y'all, I cry a lot on camera and I just want to rap about that? Like, it seems like you can't because you're from fucking New York and New Yorkers don't cry. Y'all don't have emotions.
I think those people are different because they already came out one way, so they can't switch. We're not gonna like it. But I think most deaf, and he's not the only one, but he's an example of somebody who's from Brooklyn, and that's probably like 50% of Brooklyn also, especially about the style. Most deaf, you see a million most deafs. Where do you think all that pyramid hat shit come from? Like,
what do you think that represents? When I think Brooklyn, I think MOP first. I think Jay-Z first. I think Biggie first. I think Boot Camp first. Do you think most really represents what most people think about Brooklyn when it comes to 90s hip hop?
I can't speak for people outside, but I know within the borough, most def is a Brooklyn dude.
Brooklyn dude, yes.
And here's the thing too, is that I think even though Most's subject matter was, you know, the underground and socially conscious, but look, he had the swag. He had that Brooklyn swag. Look at the contrast between Most and Talib, who was in the same group. Talib was lacking that swag.
But Talib is from Brooklyn.
He is, but he was also like, you just felt it more with Most. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I don't know.
Je ne sais quoi. I get it. Like,
you just felt it more with Most.
Like sounded like he was more so from Jersey. So that's the weird part, that they're both from Brooklyn.
Right, but you know, it's just the swagger that Most had. It was that Brooklyn swagger. It didn't matter what the hell he was talking about. And he did songs for the ladies, and he did other shit. But you know what I'm saying? He was embraced because he kind of fit the vibe, man. You know what I'm saying? Right. Everyone could relate to him.
All right. Let's talk about Ye and this production thing, because I had this huge discussion about Ye not producing Cam's Down and Out. You know what I mean? The reason why this is so close to my heart is because when people would be like, who's better, Just Blaze or Kanye? I just be like, listen to Cam's Down and Out. Like, that was my big joker for Kanye. So for people watching who may not know, on one of them Kanye mixtapes, Google the shit, he literally says, I did not do that beat. People come to me all the time and they say, I love that beat. And he said, no, one of my producers, Brian All Day Miller, did that beat. You know what I mean? That stuck out to me in so many ways, because when a producer who's just getting on, this is like probably in Ye's first 2 years of being like a A-level producer, and you're telling me that you have producers, that's letting me know you're following along the line that where you came from, because Ye came up producing for Derek D. Angeletti. You know what I mean? So when he said one of my producers, I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what the fuck you done did now. You know what I mean? Because you're admitting, and readily so, I appreciate that, because it could have kept lying. You admitted you didn't do this beat. So for me, that now makes me now have to question, what did you do? Now here's the difference for me between a Ye and a Puff. I've never seen Puff turn on a drum machine. I have seen videos of Ye making beats, so I know Ye can make beats. So, that's the difference. I don't want people thinking I'm capping for Ye, because it's the last nigga I'm a cap for. But I'm just saying that I at least know Ye can make beats. I've seen him make beats through all these videos. I've never seen Puff make a beat. So that's the difference. Now, of course, I'm not saying Kanye didn't produce anything. I'm just saying now I don't know what he produced, because, I mean, truth be told, whatever it is, there was a lie told. So I gave the example. If we around the way and we kids, and it's like, yo, I smashed Shorty over on Ogans Avenue, and you find out I didn't, nigga, from now on, whenever I say I smashed somebody, bro, I'm gonna be looking sideways like, this nigga lying like shit. You know what I mean? So I don't know what Ye produced because of that. How do y'all feel about that? You know, a producer, you know, his name was on it, and I get it. Maybe the label was like, you know what? Cam is hot. I mean, Cam needs this song. Ye, you're hot. You're on the chorus. It sounds so much better saying the new Down and Out produced by Kanye West. You know, 106 in Part. It sounds much better than saying the new Cameron song produced by Brian All Day Miller. It'd be like, who? You know what I mean? And again, the way that, again, I know I'm not the only one, hearing a name associated with something puts more oomph in it. I guarantee you, them Yeezy sneakers, no disrespect, I don't like them. If them shit said pay less, niggas are not rocking it. People like it because it's Jesus. People like it because there's a name associated with it. But does that bother y'all that Kanye said, you know, a beat said produced by Kanye and he didn't do it? Porsche, what about you, sis?
Yes, it bothers me, and it's not just Kanye, it's anybody. So anytime your credibility is in question, then it kind of destroys it for the rest of whatever you've done. Like, it takes that much more to kind of prove that you aren't lying about everything. Because if you can lie about, or not lie, but withhold I consider withholding information lying. I consider, any type of misconception that you could have been outright with a lie. So, if you could lie about one thing or withhold or misconstrue one thing, what's to say you're not doing it on another thing, even in the slightest bit or different aspects? It's the same reason why we don't rely at all or put any value on charting, like chart placements, Grammy nominations, Grammy awards, because these things are bought. These are doctored data. These are doctored variables. And as soon as we found out that chart placements could be bought because people were buying, their own albums and making sure that the numbers were running as sold units, but really were just them out themselves to doctor their own numbers. Like, we discredited every chart placement ever because now it means nothing. These are not, credible sources. These are not valid variables and analytics and data. So it's the same thing with production. If you produce and you can produce, then why didn't you just from the get-go say, hey, this is not my production, I did not produce this? Why wait any length of time at all? To me, that's very, very sketchy, and it's it's definitely puts everything in question, everything.
Right. I know for me personally, Ye was probably a top 10 producer for me at some time or point, of course, towards the ladder of 10. But as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, nope, you out. Like, the second I hear any type of I didn't do or ghost production, you got to go, bro. It was the same thing, Porsche, cover your ears with Drake. As soon as I heard that he wasn't writing his rhymes, he instantly went from an MC to a rapper to me. You know what I mean? Like, he's an entertainer now. Like, because again, you didn't write that song, I don't know what else you didn't write. So that's just for me. And again, especially on a production tip, because it's what I do. You know what I mean? Another person who's a chef, if a person puts, yo, that's my dish, I may be like, who give a fuck? But I'm sure another chef would be like, yo, nah, nigga, that's blasphemy. You can't put your name on no dish. You know what I mean? Like, so again, for me, it hits even harder. So that right there just knocked Ye right up out of my top 10 producer list for me, because again, I don't know what else you lied about. You know what I mean? And I'm with Porsche. I look at it like a lie. Once you a liar, nigga, that's what you are. Like, you know what I mean? You got somebody in your family, your uncle lied once. Guess what? That nigga a liar. And it's hard to come back from being a liar. Eddie, what about you?
Yeah, man. I agree with that. I think even more so with Kanye, because he's such a he he claims to be the best. He wants to be the best. He has this huge ego, right? And I think that to me makes it even worse, right? Because, he wants you to believe he's the best, but then you find out someone ghost produced for him. Then you're finding out he's getting help with other shit he produced, like using someone else's drums or whatever else the case is. You know what I'm saying? So now
oh god, no, you don't open up a whole nother can of worms with them Timberland drums, man. Because that again, we're producing. Like, I know somebody's gonna say I'm stretching, but again, this is what the fuck I do. Asking another man to come over and fucking program your drums because you don't know what you're doing. It's like asking another nigga to come over and fuck your joint because you ain't fucking satisfied. I'm sorry, Porsche. That's how much I look at drum programming. Like, that's the core of hip hop production. Like, my OG, a kid called Roots, I will play beats. He's like, yo, your drums suck, and I just kept working on it. So I don't understand this mindset of if you're not good at it, just keep working at it. Like, don't just give up and call Timberland like, hey, come over and do my drum. Like, a 90s producer, bro, drum production is like, that's the core of your production. The sample comes second, it's the drums. So to have another man come to your studio and do the drums on Stronger, we're not even fucking talking about some crazy drum production. It's fucking Stronger. Like, I forgot about that. That's blasphemy on a whole nother fucking level.
Didn't he, Eddie?
That's a whole nother level. Asking your fucking drums for you.
Yeah. Nah, man. And so I honestly I think at this point, and I've checked out on Ye for a while now, but I think probably Ye got to a point where he's just like executive producer. He's probably like, directing what he wants the shit to sound like, I imagine. But yeah.
I feel you, babe. What you think?
I think for the most part, like you said, he definitely has the ability because he's shown that. So it could be more that he's produced that he didn't, than he did not produce, I should say. It was kind of a downer to know that he didn't do that Down and Out beat because it's just such a dope song and you are invested. But one thing that always gets left out of these conversations is contracts. And the record label has a say. All that creative shit may not matter. You know what I'm saying? They, like you, to your point, right? Okay, he did it, but we want Kanye, produced by Kanye on it, right? Kanye could be against that, but you signed the contract. What power do you have besides, the power that you do have? So maybe you have power to say, maybe you didn't. Maybe now you're out of that situation. Now you can just speak freely. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's a lot of politics when you're talking about record deals because we can put ourselves I can put myself into that category. Hell no, I don't want nobody write my shit. But I don't have a record deal. I don't have boundaries and shit that I signed that prevents me from doing certain things. I could be the most hip hop nigga ever. That shit don't matter when you sign that contract. Your job is to sell records for the company. So when we talking about these dudes, there's all kinds of shit that happens. I think there's some people who have the best of both worlds, right? They could be creative. I think Kendrick Lamar is a perfect example. His creativity sells records, so they don't touch him. You know what I'm saying? And there was probably shit they were at TDE, they were preventing him from doing. And maybe that's why he left, right? And it could be a money thing. It doesn't always have to be creative, but and it does take away from what I believed about Kanye, right? Because when I learned a long time ago, shit, back when it came out, that he didn't do Jesus Walks, and I'm like, wow, really, that one? Like of all the records, that one?
That's the one you didn't write. Like, right. Man, you're killing me, man.
And look, I went to the when the Roots had that show. I went to a premiere at the Apollo where they talked about the creation of Jesus Walks, and Kanye was working on something similar, but then Rhymefest had a better version, but I didn't really like Rhymefest's version. So it was almost like they had to come together for the I don't know, because Kanye's so passionate about what he says and does that I think that's what he brought to that song. And Rhymefest just had the perfect lyrics for it. Right. And then, you know, the sample and all that shit. So for me, I still had him at number one, but I'm with you, Kill. Like, I don't know, because I told you, Mace wrote Biggie's 112 remix verse, so it's like nothing sacred, you know? So,
right, I feel JR, what you think?
I just had a conversation with my mom about this, and she was like, she said that, you know, back then, when they used to, you know, get these records or whatever, and this was back in the 60s and the 70s and stuff, they didn't pay attention. They thought that the artist did everything. That's what they thought. They was like,
Barry Gordy produced everything almost.
Right, like he produced everything. So she was like, when it came to the liner notes and she started reading those, some of those were lies. Because like Vegas said, at the end of the day, there's contracts that signed. You don't know who did what, you don't know who did what. So yeah, you reading liner notes, that shit might be bullshit because the label is like, no. Because I remember going back and forth with her like, well, no, this is what it said on the liner notes. She was like, that's not always true. Right. So at the end of the day, you can't be mad. Like your favorite producer, you might have thought did everything. Like she was like, yo, you might have thought Raphael did everything. You might have hoped he did, but some stuff he might have didn't. And then his contract, he couldn't. And he might have been like, yo, I want to give this person the credit. They like, no, you're going to take it. And that's just what it is. So it was crazy. We like had like an hour conversation about this. So for you to bring this up, it's just like crazy because it's like, you never know. There's nothing sacred. Like when y'all told me that freaking Mace wrote Big's rhyme on the Only You remix, I was like, what? Are you serious?
But wait, there is a scale to this because, for example, is Mace writing Big's verse for the 112's track gonna ruin Big's entire legacy and ability? No, because he's got enough in the tuck that proves and shows his ability, the quality of his work. He's done so much writing for other people, and they've catapulted their careers that it doesn't matter if Big had literally a quarter of his, you know, tracks written for him. He's done enough that it makes it okay. Not okay, but it makes you kind of be like, well, maybe there's a reason. What, Kill?
No, I'm just gonna say, I need to know why. Was this to get Mace on? Like, was this a favor? Because it just doesn't make sense. Like, again, I've never understood this because, like you just said, Big not only wrote for himself, he wrote for countless other motherfuckers. So I just don't understand why he would have to let, like, it sounds like, are you letting Mace like get on? Is this like a favor? Like, hey, what is do you know the story behind this? Because it just doesn't make sense that, like, it's like almost like Premier being like, we've known Premier has never had any accusations of anybody else producing his beats. And then we find out for a soundtrack. So not a Gangstar album, but for a soundtrack, he let fucking, you know, his son let fucking Big Suge's son produce a song under him. Like, I don't understand why Big would let Mace do that because he doesn't need that. And Mace is a lesser known MC. Like, why the fuck if I'm an A student, am I gonna let a C student fucking take a test from me? It makes no sense. So I just don't understand.
With Puff might have made him do that too.
I mean, yeah, babe, do you know what where this came from? Because it just doesn't add up. It's like one of them detectives, and the murder is solved, and you be like, nah, nigga, this shit don't add up. Like, nah, like, I know we could close the books, but nah.
Now, I have a question for everyone though. Now, do y'all think that?
Well, hold on for a second. Hold that question for a second, Ed. I want to get to that. But babe, do you know what's behind why Big let Mace write this for him?
Yeah, I think the story. Well, first, if you didn't know Mace wrote it, was it a C-level performance?
Right, that's
no. I wasn't talking about the level of performance of that song.
No, I know you just mentioned that.
I just don't think Mace is a dope C. So I'm just saying.
you mentioned that. That's why I said it. That's ghostwriting, right?
Right.
That's good ghostwriting. You know, we
Right.
thought it was Biggs. The story is basically something really simple. Like Mace was already on Bad Boy, but not out. I think at the time that it was written, not when it was released. And Big asked, I guess Big was challenging him to write his verse for him, and he would do something else. I don't know what the something else was, but that was the thing. It was more of like a challenge to Mace to say, you know, well, you write this verse for me, then, you know, whatever, you cool or you down or whatever the hell the case was. Because that was happening all the time in Bad Boy. Maybe not always with Big, but with others. But it's the same difference with Kanye, right? Because we really, that particular song with him and Mace, I mean, not him and Cameron, knowing that he didn't write that, it's the same thing. Well, I mean, produce that. It's the same thing. Well, we may not know what he did or didn't do, but that doesn't mean he didn't do the majority of shit that we know he did.
Oh no, I agree with that.
And
Like I said,
Big and not for because shit, it makes me wonder, right? Like, well, shit. I think I know he wrote all of it, you know, his verses.
right. And again, that's why I was like, and that's why I wanted to make that separation in the beginning between Puff, who I don't know if he ever even knows how to turn on the MPC or how to plug the shit in, versus a Kanye who we know has made beats. We know that, you know, but again, it just didn't make sense to me because to me, Mace is a lower level tier MC than Big. So that's why I'm like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, when your fucking nigga on the free throw line gets hurt, you don't fucking send in the worst free throw shooter to take the shot for him. You send in the best free throw shooter from the bench. So it's kind of like...
It's like that Drake dude, what's his name, Quentin Miller?
Yeah, Quentin Miller.
Like, I think he's garbage compared to Drake, what Drake has done. Why would he get him to write? But it's because you want him to write a particular record. That verse ain't nothing crazy, but it does sound like Big. So
right. And I think the thing with Quentin Miller is that there are just some people who I think don't have the look, but may have the bars. You know what I mean? Like, there's a Drake AI record right now. Of course, just a couple years for the next 5 minutes. There's this Drake AI record that I found online. And this shit sounds fucking good, but it's not Drake. It's fucking AI. You know what I mean? But yo, when I'm listening to it, I'm like, but this shit sounds kind of pretty good. It's featuring The Weeknd. It's got features on it and shit, but it's nobody real. You know, so again, I could be an incredible writer, but like, I don't have a dope voice. I don't have a dope cadence, you know. But Eddie, what was the question you wanted to ask, bro?
Similar to what Vegas posed, which is like, do y'all think, like, before finding this out, did y'all think that that was one of Big's weakest verses? You know what I'm saying? And
I don't think I thought it was a weak verse. I mean, when I make a best of Big mix, that's not in it. You know what I mean? But it's not to say I didn't love it. I mean, you throw on 112, I'm rhyming with it, you know, but it's not like if somebody says, give me your top 10 Biggie verses, that may not be top 40 for me or whatever like that. You know what I mean? But I never thought it was whack.
And the other point I was going to make is, I think that Mace as an MC, you know, and I remember some of the Murder Mace stuff with Cam and stuff like that, but beyond that, Mace never really connected to, like, Mace on Bad Boy never really connected to me. But he still had bars, but I think it was either his voice or his delivery or combination of both that didn't really connect with me, but just showing that him writing for someone else, like, to me, it sounded good. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think Mace would have sounded good over a 112 beat. I think Mace would have sounded good there too.
Oh, he was
on it. He's on the record. Yeah. He's on the same record, so he wrote both verses. But one thing that, and it's some record industry shit, well, probably mostly Bad Boy, but it happens in other instances, is Big probably didn't want to write to that joint. He probably was working on Life After Death, and here come Puff, yo, I need you on this single because, you know, to give it the boost and blah, blah, blah. And it's happened before, right? Like with the Benjamins, you know, like Jadakiss writing on it. I think it was Jadakiss wrote Puff's verse, something like that. But they would do these things.
Oh, I was about to say Vegas, not tonight, nigga. Please don't tell me fucking somebody didn't write the Locks verse on the
Oh,
Benjamin.
no. Locks
All right.
wrote their verses, but they were ghostwriting within the organization as well.
Right.
So some of that is me and you in the studio, we working on this album, and here come Puff like, yo, I need you on this single, and I don't want to do it. It happens all the time. Before they commission, yo, Shorty Hungry over there will write me a verse that will come from me, and if it's dope, I'll use it. And that, you know, I mean, he didn't write for him all the time, obviously, but they ain't give me the loot or no shit like that. It's fucking the R&B songs.
Right.
Right, you can't have a verse talk about robbing pregnant women on an R&B song. You know what I'm saying? So.
Right. All right, let's give some love to some people. I'm actually shocked. Porsche, you didn't name Pete Rock. I'm shocked. I knew Pete was going.
I'm a firm believer that everybody's got their lane. Pete Rock's lane is just not rapping; it is producing. So I'm not going to just shove him in where.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Pete, here are just some of the people who, of course, outside of Ye, with ghostwriters, just because, again, same thing. Grand Puba was writing for Pete Rock when they first came out. It's crazy to me that Pete CL's first single was The Creator that CL didn't even fucking rhyme on. You know what I mean?
Hold up.
What's up?
I did not know that.
What, that Puba was writing? Yeah. Like everything on like that first, at least for the first, for Main and Greet. Yeah, Main and Greet. No, Mecca and the Soul Brother. For Mecca and the Soul Brother and all sold out the EP, Grand Puba was writing for him. So that whole creative verse is Grand Puba.
Wow. I did not. Yeah. I thought. I'm starting to feel like you, kid. Like, hey, what this nigga write?
Right. Nah. It's all. Go back and listen to The Creator. You're gonna hear it now. You're gonna hear Puba.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear Puba in it now. But it was just crazy to me that was the first single and CL ain't even on it. I wonder how CL felt. But for Pete Rock, my joint off of Soul Survivor, Soul Brother #1. I just love that verse. I love that beat. Just to take it was 7 SPs, put them in a line, and this is old spin on Rakim's joint. We talked about Dre. A lot of people don't really name him like that, but Lord Finesse. I thought Lord Finesse is a real dope MC who's also a very, very dope producer. I know a lot of people don't fuck with him, but Rock Marciano, you know what I mean? Even giving love to Sed G from Ultramagnetic, you know what I mean? He did the whole Critical Beatdown, did Boogie Down Productions, Criminal Minded. Was there anybody else y'all want to shout out and producers on the mic? Eddie?
Odyssey from DC area, really dope. You know what I'm saying? He mostly produces for himself, but he does do some outside stuff as well. You'd be hard pressed to give me an Odyssey album that I don't like. Like, he puts out quality.
No doubt. Another person, Kev Brown, out of DC too, out the Maryland area. This album, I Do What I Do. Love this joint, man. I don't know, it may be 5 mics to me, but I love this album. And if you haven't heard about Kev Brown, check out Jazzy Jeff the Magnificent on BBE. That was the first time I heard him. He definitely got beats. Vague, Porsche, anybody else left in the tuck that y'all want to shout out?
Well, go ahead, Vague. Go ahead, Vague. Go ahead.
Ladies first.
No. Go ahead.
Vague, please go. Porsche. Just
have a
go back
standoff over here.
Please go.
Oh, you know who I got shout? Well, I'll go. Evidence. I got shout out Ev too. Ev from Dolly. Ev from Dolly. It's probably my favorite Ev album right here, Cats and Dogs. So definitely Ev. Vegas, please go.
Big Crit.
Yes.
Oh, Big Crit. That's a good pull.
Very dope one. Very dope one.
And MC, I'ma say it and we just gonna move on. Candyman. Once upon another
Candyman
multiverse, we would have had him on the list, but not
today. Right. All right, Porsche, who you got?
I was gonna say Shay Noir. I love that she's recently got into production because now I can put her in this kind of list because she's such a dope rapper, and I do like that. She's not like the most super seasoned producer, but she does produce, so she fits in here. So
right.
I just want to say, Shane.
I got one last honorable mention. I just want to mention. It's probably left field, but Paz and Dave from De La Soul, man, they produced the bulk of that Stakes Is High album. You know what I'm saying? They were probably doing some other shit as well. You know what I mean? They're no more as MCs, but they were doing a lot of production after they stopped working with Prince Paul.
All right, no doubt. Now I forgot my number one R&B was Prince. That was my number one for on the R&B side of things with Prince. I don't know if everybody saw it. Biz has the documentary out, All Up in the Biz on Showtime and Paramount. Very, very, very dope documentary. I always tell people I've always given Biz his flowers. This is the only hip hop 12-inch that I keep out here, and I pay fucking $40 for this shit. Like, but this was one of my favorite 12 inches EP. It's the only 12-inch EP that stays up here out in sight. So check it out. I learned a whole lot about this. So there's literally no way you can watch this documentary and not walk away learning something about the great, legendary Biz Markie. Rel, let's talk about this album. Oh, what's up, JR?
Oh, no. You good.
Okay. Let's talk about this album, Rel.
All right, so the album is called Caught in the Moment. The reason for the title got something to do with y'all, actually. I had stopped making music for a while, and I just remember during the pandemic, we was like on lockdown. We couldn't really go out and do nothing. So that's when you go down a rabbit hole on YouTube and you just find this stuff. And I stumbled across this podcast, right? And it was the show they were talking about Philly MCs. It was Apartment 5B. And so I watched it. Then I watched another episode, and I finally reached out to Kill, and that's how I got on this show. And it kind of like restored my motivation to make music, just being around y'all and the energy and the conversations and learning stuff and just all of that. So I was like, when I decided to start making music, and I felt like I was caught in the moment of just being motivated by being on this show. So that's really where the title came from. And I said it the other night, I'm not like just putting words over some beats that Kill gave me, you know what I'm saying? I'm really, like, when you hear it, like, I'm really talking about stuff. I'm really talking about something, you know what I'm saying? Stuff of importance, of substance, you know what I'm saying? I just think it's a very well-rounded album. Of course, the production is good. And I just, I'm real appreciative of the love I've been getting. And I'm appreciative of Kill for helping me out with this, you know what I'm saying? Because he ain't had to do it, you know what I'm saying? He said, I'll help you out with this. And on the strength, you know what I'm saying? And he ain't had to do that. So I'm just appreciative of all of it. And it's going to show in the album. You'll hear it. Y'all got shouted out several times in the album because the reason for the album is, me linking with y'all for real. So just know that when y'all hear it, like, y'all a part of it. Like, y'all a part of the reason why I started making music again.
That's dope. I'm excited for everybody here. We got the barbershop record done that we needed. You know what I mean? So that's dope. What's the band camp that? I'm sorry, my bad, babe.
So you saying I could get on a remix or something like that? That's what you're saying, bro?
Hey, yes, you can get on. Yeah, like, we can do that. Like, we can do that. Like, I'm definitely with that. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah, man.
Definitely. Because when I say I'm serious. Like, that restored my want to continue to make music. Because I stopped for a little while, just life stuff, just being an adult. You know what I'm saying? And I have a daughter. That responsibility is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of stopped, but being around y'all kind of rejuvenated me. So yeah. So there it is. It's Caught in the Moment. And when you hear it and you hear some of the stuff I'm talking about, you understand, you know what I mean, where it came from.
And the album artwork is crazy, yo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
album
Check
artwork,
that
bro.
out.
Like,
Yeah.
if y'all like were into comics like back in the days, like definitely an interpolation on a classic X-Men comic cover. You know what I'm saying? The classic storyline and the twist, the twist on it. I'm not going to give it away too much if you haven't seen it. The twist on it is really, really dope. You know what I'm saying? I love it. I think it was definitely a conversation starter. And I know the music is going to be just as dope. But you know, I'm glad that y'all got that buzzing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he when he told me what his idea was, I was like, he listened to the song "Fear," what I was talking about on that song, and he kind of in his mind, you know what I'm saying, and went and that formulated that. He say, "I feel like this is you," you know what I'm saying,
and for y'all watching, that's Zarhill. You know what I'm saying? He's a graphic artist who designed the cover. You know what I'm saying? Very, very dope individual. Like, I think most of us follow him, right?
Yeah. Dope.
Yeah.
All right, and what's the Bandcamp, bro? Where they can get it?
It's Jarrell215 at Bandcamp. JARELL 215.
All right.
I'm gonna post the link tonight after midnight. You know what I'm saying, with the link for the album. And you know, give it a listen, man. You won't be disappointed. Trust me.
And Bandcamp Friday next Friday.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely gotta get on
September
that.
1st. For people who catch us late, September 1st.
And Porsche stays on that. If y'all need a PR person, y'all need to get Porsche.
Or return on that day, the other day. And the one after that is October 6th. So if you miss September 1st, October 6th is your next Bandcamp Friday. I always go on a shopping spree on Bandcamp Fridays, and I buy up all the albums I've been listing and I have on a list, and then I shout them out on Twitter because I call it my Bandcamp shopping spree. It's so yeah.
All right, and real quick, Rel, we did a dope show with on last Tuesday on Spaces. And again, real quick, for people watching who want to become supporters, 6 ways that you can support. Number 1, buy the album. It'll be up on Bandcamp for 2 to 3 weeks before we go to streaming to actually try to make some money. You know, artists, producers take a lot of time making beats, writing rhymes, coming up with concepts, doing all this cover art. For it to be dope, we need that support. So buy the album. Number 2, you don't have any money, totally understandable. Retweet about it, repost about it. I was with one of my kids in my teen center and I saw her, she was on IG. And she literally was just scrolling down, just liking everything. She wasn't even literally looking at what it was. It just was an automatic like. And I realized that's what a lot of people do. So it's why you could get 250 likes and only 5 retweets or 20 retweets or something like that. So we need people to be very cognizant of what you're doing. And again, for me, this is just me speaking. If it's my shit and if you don't like it, don't retweet about it. I'm only asking you to do this if you fuck with it. If you think something I did is whack, leave it where it is. But if you say you fuck with it, then these are the things. So buy it, retweet about it. Number 3, tell somebody about it. Most men are in some type of chat group with their friends. Jump in the chat the same way you would when Nas come out with something new. Yo, I heard this new Rel album. You should check it out. Boom, boom, boom. Number 4, in real life, tell people about it. In the barbershop, while you at your basketball pickup game, while you at your son's little league game, you know, and you around other people who you know like hip hop, do that. Number 5, I totally believe in 6 degrees of separation. Really think if you really fuck with Rel's album, or you really fuck with Willmatic, or you fuck with something that somebody's messing with, think in your mind, who do you know who knows somebody who could maybe help this album pop? I truly believe in that. And number 6, I forgot what number 6 is because I'm getting old, but he no matter here nor there. Just roll with those 5 for right now. And if you do those 5, you're really going to be helping out these artists, because again, people take a lot of time and a lot of effort to put into this work. And from the conversation that we did on Tuesday, one of the biggest takeaways was once you hit your core group. So if Rel has 100 core fans, then the album just stalls, you know. And it's really about how do we push through to that next group of core fans, and that only comes from people supporting it. It only comes from people talking about it. That's it. The Griselda came from people telling me, yo, Kill, you need to listen to Griselda. You need to listen. People kept beating me in the head with Griselda. You know what I mean? So that's the only way that it really gets out there and it gets past that core thing. So Vegas, where can they get at you, good brother?
All right, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Vegas World INC, and check out my podcast, which is a weekly news and hip hop news and perspectives podcast, released on all podcasting platforms, but also on YouTube.
All right, JR, the youngest in charge. You're muted, good brother.
Oh, my bad. R&B Reps. Our latest episode is RJ latest arrival and Slum Village surprised us in the episode. So check that out. Our Mariah Carey Music Box episode is out, which is dope. Then we got a couple new episodes coming out. I'm excited for everybody to see it. But I'm back on JR's World of Soul. I'm back with current R&B bangers again. I have a Flashback Friday video I'm about to record tonight. So yeah, I'm back in the swing of things. Just follow me on JR's World of Soul on Instagram, Twitter, R&B Reps on Instagram and Twitter as well.
All right, Eddie, where can I get at you, good brother?
Yeah, man, I'm on Twitter or X, whatever the fuck it's called now, at Eddie D80. I'm on Instagram at Freestyles.
All right, Porsche, where can they get at you, sis?
On Twitter at Cherche La Porsche. And that Vegas episode, his last episode, actually killed me. I posted that like 7 times in my Instagram stories, and I was texting people conversations about it. I had people who aren't even hip hop fans laughing at Vegas's reaction. He was talking about the
top 50 list.
the 50 New York rappers of all time, and I could not get myself together. I watched that my own story like 40 times. So if you haven't seen that, just you gotta watch that episode. It killed me.
Thank you for that. That was my honest and live reaction. I didn't see the list, so I just went down and I was like, "Diddy's on here? Like what?"
Oh, he goes. Have Pharaoh Monch at number 49. Like he was laughing in a way that really explained the absurdity of this list. Like he was everybody's reaction, and I just loved every minute of it. So if you haven't checked it out, check that out.
You already know it is with me. Kill 889 Twitter and IG. I always issue this challenge. Don't be the husband who only brings his wife flowers on Valentine's Day and on her birthday. Bring her flowers all the time. And I say that to say, I see so many people who I never see tweet, post, IG, Facebook about hip hop. Nope. Who never do it. You know what I mean? People will ask me at the top of this year, Kill, what you doing for the 50th? I'm gonna do the same shit I've been doing for the past 39 years, y'all. Loving hip hop, doing these podcasts, talking about it every day. So I just challenge people out there. You know, it actually started to piss me off after a while. Like at first it was cool, like, oh, this love seeing hip hop get all this love, but then it started to bother me because I'm like, you motherfuckers don't say shit about hip hop any other motherfucking time. And what, we gonna wait another 50 years when everybody dead to shout it out? Half these motherfuckers ain't even know when hip hop's birthday was before this year. They ain't show no love on the 49th birthday, the 40th birthday, the 30th birthday, the 25th, nothing. You know what I mean? So again, I just challenge y'all, don't be them motherfuckers. Don't be that motherfucker who only post about shit you love once a year, because then I got a question, do you really love that shit? You know what I mean? So again, I just challenge folk, if you want to say you love the culture, then love the culture, and shit change. We are not doing an Apartment 5B 50th anniversary show. No, every goddamn week is a 50th anniversary Love on Hip Hop show. That's what we do every goddamn. Yeah. So there's no, if you're waiting for when y'all gonna do the 50th birthday, every goddamn week, my nigga. That's when we do it. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if you're gonna say, I don't even want to see it, like dead ass. Like I was pissed off after a while because I'm all these motherfuckers on IG. Oh, I fell in love with hip hop. Nigga, you ain't in love with hip hop. Maybe you loved it 20 years ago, but you don't fuck with it now because you don't say shit about it. And again, if you was married and your wife, trust me, I do enough marriage counseling. When wives ain't talked about on IG, they got a fucking problem. So at the end of the day, if you ain't fucking with hip hop like that, don't jump on our dick now that it's the 50th. Don't do that. Keep tweeting about what y'all was tweeting about. Keep IGing about what y'all was IGing about before this shit. You know what I mean? That's my little primo. You know, what was that shit vague on Boat with the Truth or whatever? It was like, yo, you motherfucking sample snitching. That was my little primo joint right there. That was my little primo joint. Y'all violating, man. Y'all fucking violating out there. Y'all violating the culture. All right, real quick. I'm a bookworm. Just copped this new Spike Lee joint. If you know me, Spike is my guy. Just so many dope pictures in here. Just behind the scenes of just everything. All his movies, school days. Just he's got to have it. Just everything. Very dope book. I want to say it's on sale on Amazon for like $25, which is crazy because when it dropped, it was like 50 or 60. So definitely get this. Would you say?
No, I was saying it was because I was.
Yeah. So I mean, I actually was on there the other day and I was like 25. Oh, let me grab that right now. So very dope book. I will check y'all next week, y'all.
See ya.